That's a hot take.
Swinging around American flag, because that's what America's supposed to be. It's supposed to look like permanently chill.
The insurance commercial has a fat ass, but like no personality.
Yeah, I feel like sitting here and listening to this.
No, god damn it. Isaac, New Noise is not the first fucking refused album.
Rip Isaac a new one today. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Don't touch my records. Ever.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to Hot Takes. I am young SHIRO, and this is Skeleton Lipstick. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate it, as always.
We are on our 8th episode, and we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Christ, none other than the head of Business Casual. I don't know if they're putting an 87 at the end of it anymore. Thank you, 100p, for
have him here.
Yeah, very excited to have all of you guys here. I see a lot of friendly faces in the chat. Please let us know again if you can't hear us, music's too loud, music's too quiet. If I need to turn Dr. Chris down, of course. But anyways, welcome. Chris is going to start us out with a recommendation for tonight.
Well, I guess first let's start out with what Hot Takes is, right?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Do you want to tell them?
Anybody who just... Sure, I'll tell them. So Hot Takes is a podcast where we kind of have a conversation with another member of our scene, between me and Isaac, we discuss the events of the day, the events of art, the events of music, the state of it, and no real topic is off topic. Even maybe something controversial, but the way we try and frame any kind of controversial thing is in, sort of a very benign way, not an aggressive way, and just to examine the concept at hand rather than to judge too hard. And we try to do it in a nice, soft way to promote friendship, understanding, and positivity. Yeah, how about that?
Dude, good, right? That's a perfect summary. That was a very hot summary. Just want to say happy birthday, Zodikas Karmazov. It's Zodikas's birthday today, guys.
And we're pretty vaporwave focused most of the time. But.
Pretty. And vapor adjacent.
Yeah.
Thanks for the follow, Gourmecca. I don't want to derail. Since you gave a beautiful explanation of what Hot Takes is, why don't we go ahead and roll on into the recommendation that you have for everybody?
Sure. The recommendation I have is from Global Pattern Records, and it's the Solar Punk compilation, A Possible Future. Oh man!
Oh yeah!
I really like this a lot. It's a really interesting and unique vision, and I really think it couldn't have come at a better time than during sort of the tail end of quarantine, right?
Right.
Another possible future, right? It's sort of the answer to the cyberpunk sort of dystopian potential future that we all seem to fixate on quite a lot. This is a version of the future where we get things right, where things change, where there's a message where a positive energy pervades the entire listening experience. A curious energy, and it's not like an overly sort of, placating positivity. It's a curious positivity, if that makes any sense. It is comforting, but it's also like, got mystery.
Hello? Oh boy, somebody clip this. Chris is frozen already.
Mystery.
Let's give him a second. Yeah. Well, sir, if you want to leave the chat and come back in, that might fix the problem. Until then, guys, shout out VA10 Association. Turn down Isaac's keyboard. Quiz, I have a new mic with a weird pickup pattern. There he is. Okay? He's back. You're back. You're back. You can continue that thought, please.
Okay, are we back?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So just to continue the thought, there's a lot of different types of sounds on here. There's a lot of swirling guitars. There's a lot of orchestral ambience. There's a lot of, there's a few almost like synthy, it's like light, airy synth-based tracks with small drums associated with them, creating a bit of a rhythm.
Gotcha.
There's, oh wow, it's just wonderful. Lots of twinkling, arpeggiatic bells kind of tremoring throughout the entire release. And if I have to recommend some songs, there's a song by PJS called Blend, which is this wonderful drone, and it's really cool when you can achieve a drone that inspires hope and positivity, and that song does
joke.
I'm a big fan of, there's a song here by Tim Six, which is really good, called Recreational Zone, and then the one after it's the Cyber Surfer 3D song too. Is just really feels like riding this interesting a wave throughout a false world that could be real. And I really like it a lot. A lot of other people on here too that are good. Lunitas has got a track on here that's really good. Ooh. And I really can't recommend this compilation album enough. It was a breath of fucking fresh air. I really loved it. Like sometimes I listen to too much ambient music and it all feels so downtrodden.
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it feels like very mysterious and spacey, right? It feels like space, but this real like solar punk really is a whole other feel. I'm here for it. I really like this compilation of music a lot. Okay.
Dude, beautifully worded. I'm very excited to check it out now. I'm embarrassed that I haven't yet. That's the VA10 Association one, right?
I think it was. Is it the VA10? Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I think it's VA10, and yeah, I believe. I don't know offhand actually. I have to check that out. And I know it's released. I know it's on Global Pattern. So
Global Pattern. When I think of solar punk, I guess like in my head, I imagine stuff that kind of sounds like Stack Overflow. So,
okay.
Not sure how accurate that is, but I badly need to
picture it as an answer to cyberpunk, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like solar punk. It's about the Earth. It's about getting back in touch with the positive energy and creating a utopia, not a dystopia. So solar punk, not cyber. You get it? Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I like it.
Very brilliant.
Check it out, everybody. If it's not too much trouble, maybe drop a link. Apparently, my keyboard clacking is way too loud with this new mic.
Do that.
That would be super cool. And that leads us to today's hot take, courtesy of moi. And let's just keep it to the to me this time, because it seems last time somebody typed a little something in the chat and their take was hotter than mine. So I don't necessarily know that this is an opinion, more so much as it is just a gripe, I guess. I really don't like the fact that I know so many people, almost on a first name basis, that write, produce, all of their material, do their own like self promo, and then we've got all these artists on the top 40 charts that got ghost writers, teams of producers making their music for them, and yet somehow we're still giving all this credit to these famous names that it seems at this point often don't even make their own work. Am I wrong for thinking that's kind of fucked up? I mean, obviously you have some very reputable names, but I'm tired of these artists having all this fame, and I don't like these famous artists that don't write their own material. They got these teams of ghostwriters doing their shit for them.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about this for a second. All right. So let's maybe discuss an example. All right. Let's bring on John.
All right.
Actually, before we get really into the hot take, because I don't want to start talking too much, let's introduce John Zobele, aka Christ, aka Father, aka.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
I do want to hear your retort on that, but let's bring on the man of the hour. Let me go ahead and cut this TV stat.
Behind business.
Hey! Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Christ.
Oh!
Hey, welcome to Hot Takes.
Here we go. All right, so let's get John. So John, thanks for being here. We're very happy to have you. We're very happy to have you join the conversation. Let's have some fun. So, young SHIRO, Isaac, what were you just talking about? I don't know if...
listen, I know you, I know Christ, I know anyone who's been on Hot Takes, and so many people in the vapor sphere and vapor adjacent scene that are incredibly skilled, incredibly talented, multifaceted, and they do all these things. And then you have these famous artists that don't.
Doesn't like the ghostwriters and the famous artists.
Well, I don't disrespect the ghostwriters. I just disrespect these famous people taking all the credit.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, it feels a little bit hypocritical, just a smidge hypocritical that we're, hating on these, guys that call the ghostwriters and stuff, when a lot of people in our scene, a lot of people in vaporwave adjacent scenes, sample a lot and use that sort of stuff as material. So technically they're not writing it all themselves, they're not doing it all themselves. I mean, sure, you don't have the marketing department behind you. But
granted.
The actual, music stuff, you're part of it is sort of like using other people's art as a crutch, as a sort of like a, hey, you know this song, this is a Michael Jackson sample. Hey, you know this, but it's weird now.
You're right. Somebody messed up that MJ
I think
song.
that's fair. Okay, so I think that's fair, yeah. So, okay, let's talk about this whole subject for a moment. So, for example, let's discuss the ghostwriters. Let's discuss the production process. For an example, I'm going to bring up, because I'm a little bit familiar with it. There's a song, so stick Rihanna for instance, right?
Let's do it.
Rihanna has a song called Man Down, which was a failed single by her, right? Let's discuss the song Man Down and how this whole process works. It begins with a few sketch artists who come up with a melody. They come up with the melody, right? And then what they do is they give the melody to songwriters. And the songwriters go and are put up in hotels, and they all work together and hang out for like a couple months or so, and they write the song, right? And then from that person, it goes to another songwriter, and that person refines the song, they clean it up, they add modern edges to it that they might notice. They're almost like cultural liaisons, and they'll add things to it. And then then the song is written, and then they usually find a pop star to sing it, right? Also, I mean, you gotta know that like Frank Sinatra, all these other people, like they had songwriters. Like this isn't a new thing. So they find, and then they shop around the song to see which artist will buy it. Now, for example, the song, speaking of Rihanna, the song "Party in the USA" by Miley Cyrus, that was originally written with Rihanna in mind, and she heard it and was like,
Damn,
and then
you know a lot about
and
this
then
shit.
Miley Cyrus bought it. So
Hey,
my
it's a
point is that like that everybody in that ecosystem serves a purpose, and it's the industry around Rihanna. It's not even Rihanna. It's like the brand of Rihanna that has been created. She's not a person. She's a cipher. You know what I mean? Like you think she's a person, like you think she has a persona, but she's a cipher. She doesn't really. She has a very careful team curating her accuracy in the public eye, right? So it's sort of like a full. This is not just like Rihanna gets all this credit. This is like Rihanna's just the face of a giant industry behind her. So, I mean, like, yeah, of course she's getting all this credit because that's what everyone wants to happen. So everyone gets paid. You know what I mean? Songwriters
They don't thing though.
Probably. I mean, but back in the day, if you go back to Motown, like, you know, Smokey Robinson wrote most of the songs for everybody, and like him and a few other songwriters, and they marketed them off to the Miracle. You know, they marketed them off to the Supremes. They marketed them off to Four Tops. You know, they got the different people to sing, to build the record label, to build the influence, to create what they wanted to make. It was an industry. It's an industry. Pop is an industry. Pop music is an industry. Motown was an industry, and the industry's point is to become successful and to dominate
and to
the pop
make money.
charts. It's to make money, right?
Yeah.
So like, of course they're getting more credit than like I don't know, Eyeliner
yeah,
is
it's
getting
literally
right now.
a brand.
You know what I mean? Eyeliner is his own cottage industry. He's trying to do his thing with the help of everybody else in the scene and ourselves. And Rihanna's got a payroll of millions of dollars. It cost $1 million to make that song, Man Down, and it wasn't even a success. But, you know, that's like, and at the end of the day, the record label needs it to be correct, right? You know, it's a very dangerous thing to give an artist freedom, right? Like, it's very dangerous to give, especially a pop artist. It's a very dangerous thing.
True. I don't know if you saw that article about...
Like that's literally like the Monkeys Out movie Head is like all about them being like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like, we're tired of being a tool. Anyway, but go ahead. You were saying.
There's a Mariah Carey there's an article about apparently Mariah Carey tried to make like a grunge album in the 90s, and the record labels were like,
oh, really?
Nope. But she like made a bunch of it herself, and they were just like,
Yeah.
Not good for the product, I guess.
No, it's not. They're a product. They're not like anything more than that. They're sacrificed at the altar of entertainment. You know what I mean? They're sacrificial lamb. Like, look at Britney Spears. And then when they're done and you have to retire them, you stick them in a fucking zoo, which is what Las Vegas is.
Shit.
It's a damn cage. Like, you got to put them out to pasture when they can't tour anymore. It's fucking ridiculous. Like,
You're not wrong.
Humorous.
One iota. You're absolutely correct.
But put them out to pasture. Used them up. They go crazy. You know
Also,
what I mean?
the Wizard of Loneliness just
their
said...
whole life. Britney Spears went crazy. You ever see the film Nashville by Robert Altman? And like that's what happens to like the main character. Well, not the main character. The movie's like 25 characters, but it's like one of the main figureheads of that world. It's like that's what happens. But like anyway, yeah. So I don't think, of course, they're gonna get credit. I can't even fight it anymore. I don't like the industry of the mainstream music world. I think it's stupid. But like I can't blame these artists. They're just cogs in the machine, right?
What I will say is anybody that I know that ends up doing ghostwriting or beat production is an OG. That's
so that's
cool.
another thing. So hold on, I'm almost done. I have one more thought to say, and I'm gonna shut up. Everyone can talk. But like, I'm so sorry. But my thing that I was gonna say is that the ghostwriting, right? If you know, they wrote that song "Man Down." Those ghostwriters wrote "Man Down." It didn't work out that well, and they could go, and then they'll get hired, and then they already booked their next gig. But Rihanna's now married to this bad song forever, and like it's on her to make it work. It's on Rihanna to make it work. Like, she's an entertainer. That's her job that's her role in this world, and it's on her to make it work. At the end of the day, her name's on it. If it fails, she fucking fails. And the ghostwriter, he might fail, but maybe he's already written a bunch of other really good songs anyway, and they'll forgive that. You know what I mean? But like, you only get so many songs as a pop songwriter. But if you're a really pop successful ghostwriter, you might like work a whole fucking lot. Know what I mean? Okay, I'm done now.
I feel like this whole entire, going back to the original hot take in like, what was the exact original hot take? It was basically, you don't like, how artists, mainstream artists versus, the little guys are getting so much more attention or whatever because, they don't do anything.
Yeah, they're not doing as much work.
That said, I don't think they're really comparable.
All right.
I mean, you have artists, and then you have celebrities. You have musicians, and then you've got, the pop stars. They're not. They do the same thing. The output's the same thing, but the input is there's no. It's not necessarily the same, and so they're not really the same. You really can't compare them, because I mean, are you gonna compare?
All right, I feel that.
What's his face? The microphones to fucking Rihanna? No.
Oh, the microphones.
No.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
I was trying to think what the guy's name is, but
Mount Erie.
Mount Erie microphones, whatever. I mean,
yeah.
You're not gonna compare him to Rihanna or to what's his red hair, pale face, fucking.
Red hair.
Ed Sheeran,
Red hair, pale face, Ed Sheeran. I guess with Isaac, sometimes maybe Isaac is like, it would be nice if we lived in a world where artists were seen as important as a pop star is seen, I guess. You know what I mean? Which I would really agree with. I would agree with that. I would like that world too.
It would be nice. It would be great. But the thing is, like, I feel like we're already in a good spot right now thanks to the internet.
True. It has really leveled the playing field.
Anybody could technically, not necessarily get to the pop star level, because you have to be like bought into that.
Who wants to? You know what I mean?
Well, these days too, who wants to? Especially when you can, if you have talent, if you get lucky. Yeah.
No, who wants to be like Rihanna? Like, I don't know. As I said before, that is literally, you have sacrificed yourself.
A lot of people on TikTok that would love to be Rihanna.
That's true.
Maybe not Rihanna, maybe Selena Gomez or whatever.
I really.
Everybody follow Christ on TikTok.
You know what? I want to say right now, I really hate the pursuit of fame in pursuit of just fame. You know what I mean? Like, I like people who are pursuing fame because they have a thing to say, they have a vision they want to share. There's something they got to get out there. They need a spotlight to do it, and that's what motivates them. And I really appreciate that, people. But then there's a lot of people who just want fame for the sake of being seen, for the sake of feeling validated, for the sake of like being better than other people.
Right, and they don't necessarily bring anything unique to the table.
Yeah, they just want fame for the sake of fame, which like straight up disgusts me so hard.
Yeah.
I really.
It's kind of overhyped.
I feel there's a lot of people out there that would love fame for just the sake of fame and don't even want anything to do with it, just want the lifestyle, just want people looking at them. They like dream about the idea of signing autographs. Like, fuck you.
And there are some drawbacks to that fame.
You get that in every
you do.
Creative field. Not even creative fields. You get it in every field, period. You get the doctor who wants to be the best doctor, get all the awards.
Right.
You do. Absolutely.
You want
for the sake of just doing it.
Yeah.
But fame is a different thing.
I feel like
fame
that probably attracts a lot of sociopaths.
Like fame, like television fame, music fame. I mean, music fame, art fame in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, are you trying to say something to me? Are you trying to do something? You're trying to take the world that I look at and shift it a little bit so I can feel something, grow some way, or you just want to be looked at, and you just want to go home and like think you have a cool house or some shit. I don't know.
I think everybody wants to be, in that sort of like, okay, there's somebody had said that, I can't remember who said this, but like in the vaporwave scene, the people who show their faces in the vaporwave scene want to be seen. They're not necessarily just in it for the music.
I did see that. I saw
that's
that
interesting.
too.
Do you agree?
Hide a name, don't show their face. And the thing is, that's fine. That's good, and that's them,
Yeah, of course.
showing their craft without, having to show their face. People who are showing their face, it's pretty clear. It's pretty obvious that I'd like to grow my influence a little bit. It's why I've put my face out there a lot more over the years. When I first started vaporwave, I mean, I wasn't putting my face out there very often. I was trying to keep, things separate so that, because I've learned on the internet that you can fuck yourself up by just being, out there. So if you're just trying to keep a lower profile on the internet, and you don't put your face out there, you don't connect your music to a face, you just have this sort of, the visual identity is like a logo or like a frame, or
like kind of a mysterious thing.
So
and then you can do a big face reveal in a few years.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing, like, you can, like, it's growing influences, like, that's another subject completely, right, than fame exactly. Growing influence can be done through many ways. And also, I want to correct something. Just because I said something has to have a really big has to have a meaning if you're trying to make art, that meaning is subjective, you know what I mean? Like, that can be just to have fun. That can be some kind of, like, weird, like, overarching, discussion of, like, some philosophical concept, or it could just be about having fun, or it could just be about how you feel. Like, I want to say, I don't want people to think that when I say it has, you have to have something to say or meaning, that I'm trying to say it has to be the most fucking complex, high-minded shit in the world.
Right.
But anyway, my other thing about the growing influence is sometimes putting yourself out there. If it really depends on the personality and the energy of the person. Some people wouldn't do well being mysterious, right? Like John, you said, like, you didn't do well being mysterious. You do better putting yourself out there with people.
Well,
I don't think I would do as well being mysterious either. But
you guys both have big personalities too.
I think it's like I didn't say that personally I want. Everybody wants to be famous. I kind of want to be famous, but at the same time, it's the same reason why, I don't overly
not like that.
go out and say that, I'm father, 2006 or whatever, I keep a separate Twitter. I don't show faces or do stuff on there that, I don't even like talk about Christ stuff on there very often, just because I would be its own separate thing. It's sort of mysterious, even though people know it's me. I'm still trying to keep that mysterious mystique sort of thing about it,
Well, Father was anonymous for a while, was it not? People didn't know it was you.
For a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was up until I think the first year I went to keep it sort of anonymous.
Right.
I still like posted about it, like, oh, look at this.
Well, it was a hell of a deviation from your typical sound.
I think it's like sonically, yes, yeah. I guess it was a bit of a deviation, at least from the.
Father?
Oh, sorry, spoiled it for DS, dude. Also, I see that you saw the Wizard of Loneliness's comment.
I thought it was pretty fucking funny. I was cracking up.
Oh man.
You talking about the Father stuff? Yeah, but I mean, also, even a lot of the Christ stuff is very different than previous Christ stuff occasionally, and that's very different than, say, like fucking like Frasier Wave or something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell of an album.
Hey,
what do you? Can I ask you? This is a? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue the thought.
I have no thoughts.
That's great. Okay.
Give me some thoughts. Come on, give me some thoughts. Give me some fucking thoughts.
Well, I was gonna say you were about to ask me something.
I was about to ask you something. This is random, but I just want to wonder, do you, like, maybe you can't say this, but do you have a fucking favorite business casual release?
I also want to know this.
Because, like, here's the thing about business casual. I think it's like one of the best record labels that's ever existed. It's just so well curated.
It's really well put together.
It's really good, and everything is really unique. And it's not one sound, and it's like it's a very high level of uniqueness in every release. It's funny
really
that's all
hard.
You that curates it, so it's like it speaks to your taste because it's very different.
It's hard to pinpoint one album because there's a ton of them. Like there's a couple from the first like year. Like I can give you a list of some of my favorites.
Please do.
Mention one that you like. This would be your favorite, I guess.
the childhood self-titled.
Yeah.
From
That's
Earth
really good.
Year, that's a classic. Whitewood's Spaceship Earth,
Iconic.
Weird. I feel like just favorites. Owl Island Adventures, Owl Island Posse. That's a classic at this point, I think. Dan Mason's Summertime EP, Zip Drive.
Yeah.
Disc Park. I love Disc Park.
Oh, I like Disco Park a lot too. I really like him a lot. I don't know how he releases as often as he does. He's kind of put out he puts out a lot of albums. And they're all very, very, very interesting to listen to. I kind of put him on a lot when I'm looking for inspiration to come up with a new sound. Honestly, like on a synthesizer, or work with a sample, or work with anything.
Hellcom Energy 111.
Oh
yeah.
man, yeah, that Y2K vibe.
It's such a departure from.
I noticed that too.
You Melt Me by Flamingo.
Oh, that's my favorite. You Melt Me. That's my favorite. You Melt Me by Flamingo is. Oh my God, that was
It's
like
so good.
That one I remember being like, holy shit, what even is this? It's so cool. And like the warped version of the what's her name lyrics, like the Taylor Swift lyrics. It's really funny because it just like it takes the lyrics by Taylor Swift and like repurposes them as like a new singer for different kind of music. And I'm like, that was so creative. I loved it. It was so good.
You know what? It's
a lot of energy too in that album. Holy shit.
It's kind of, it's almost
He
a
never-
little
yeah.
bit. It's kind of sad because he's kind of moved away from that sort of.
He
sad
has,
genre.
and I'm so sad. He just doesn't. You know what though? I can't blame him because when I listened to that album in particular, I remember like walking away from it thinking like, that feels exhausting to have produced. Like that was an exhausting album. Like there's a lot of attention paid to the textures and this construction of the songs themselves. It's just really excellently structured songs in general, and they have so much energy to it and so much going on in each track. And it's also like weird and meta with those lyrics. Like I don't even know what to call that concept of like taking the lyrics and like making it into a new singer and like. But anyhow, like I remember listening to that album being like, this felt exhausting, and like I feel like he was just like, that was a lot of work. Let me do something else. That might be more enjoyable for me to do. I don't know.
I'm still going through this list. I got Composite
I love
by
that
DJ
album.
iTunes.
Bro, I was just gonna say the DJ iTunes albums are my absolute favorites.
Oh my God.
That was
when
my
I play
gateway to
You Melt Me-
lo-fi house right there.
When I play You Melt Me at Terminally Chill, come along and ring my bell, and then like it drops. Oh, all right, I'm done talking about Flamingo now. Like people love it though live. It's so fun. It's one I remember like clicking on that album and just being blown away. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Love it so much. Okay.
Vista of Chaos by White Gravel, aka Windows 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Who else? Barb Walters.
I was just gonna say Bob Walters, dude. This is weird.
I'm scrolling through the list
Just
right now.
you're doing well, man.
By Lem
Ooh,
Kuja.
that's another one of my favorite ones. Cheesecake by Lem Kuja. That man is an outstanding producer. All his synth lines like cut through mixes.
He's an interesting
and the bass
fella.
is heavy. He's got this cool fucking mixture of like French electro and future funk. Extremely unique. No one else like him out there. I listen to Cheesecake all the time. I play Quack. Is that what it's called? With with the slide leaf. Yeah, Quack. With the sly leaf Japanese sort of verse in it. Yeah. That song I play all the time at Terminally Chill, and like it's so unique because it's this weird mixture of future funk, French electro, and then the Japanese like kawaii vocals over top of it. That thing is a fucking banger. Anyway, love that album.
Who else? Void by Dan Mason. That's
Yeah.
I think it's probably
Lovely.
his best.
That's a good one. It's a really good album.
No Refunds. SA20. That's I think it's like it's one of those albums that I don't think really hit with everybody, but like I have a sweet spot for it.
You released Purgatory by Cobalt Road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's one of my favorites.
I
Quintessential Vapor Trap.
Oh yeah.
You released my absolutely like favorite future funk album, Midnight Ads by Superflat. That and also I don't speak Japanese is really good too. Or Kabuki Boogie, I'm sorry for song on that album. But man, I love that album because Super Flat, like you can tell that man is a DJ. Like
well, things like he's got a sort of different influence that a lot of the people in the scene have, and like that's what I like about it. That's the beauty of, and things like there's a lot of artists, and whenever like people say future funk, that's just I know really generic, like some Japanese pop song, and they do like what everybody else does to it. I just sort of like I get quite a few of those. I want something that's a little bit different, that's got a little bit of a something special, something.
Well,
feisty,
that's fucking.
I don't know.
Yeah, Super Flat is feisty, man. That man, and with his rhythms, like you can tell this guy DJs parties. Like I could tell right away listening to him that this man like understands grooves very well. He's not fucking around. Like he's not dicking around doing stuff like trying to pull tricks all the time. Like this man fucking finds the groove, locks it in, and then locks another groove on top of that, and then another groove on top of that, and then like takes it down, brings it back. That man is a DJ. You could tell right away, and it's like as soon as I heard his music, I'm like, this is like I was looking for music for Terminally Chill, and then I came across Super Flat. I'm like, nailed it. There we go. This is what people will dance to.
Right.
Like, this is how dance parties work. This is how dance crowds work. And then he's also got the Latin influence too. He's from Mexico. You know what I mean? And like that's always fun when you have the Latin future funk artists who have. Oh yeah. Especially if they're people like him who are club DJs, where he mixes in Latin music during his sets anyway. So like that's that sort of that energy's there, man. So I just remember being like, thank God for Business Casual for like finding this artist.
Chris,
wow. Well, I mean, he sent in a demo, so I mean,
Yeah, good on you, man. You fucking like the fact that you got like a random demo like that. We're like, this is the thing right here. With all the albums you mentioned, honestly, not just this, but all the albums you mentioned.
I'm almost done. I got a couple more left. We got Iconic Bitch, 3D Blast classic at this point. Exotics VCR classic, it's got that classic.
Love that late night lo-fi.
Okay, Pop Culture Superwave.
Oh
Pop Culture,
yeah, that's the
I love
homie
Pop
right there.
Culture.
VCR classic. Fresh Active Presence.
Yeah, Active Presence is so fun. I really love him too. He's got such a fun vibe. It's always very like bouncy and all over the place, and it surprises me. He really surprises me, all the tracks.
Millennialism, New York Stock Exchange. That's a new one that came out in
I don't know
January.
that one.
I don't think I've heard that one.
I gotta go back and listen to that one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
You wanna link it in the chat?
You know what? Sure.
Please do.
It's a relatively new one, and like I heard like he sent his demo for like the first his first album, and like it's pretty good. This one is like a next level.
Slapperino.
Oh yeah. And also Hyper Dream Sync, which is Phono Ghost's alias with Sabaros, not Sabaro. Oh no, I'm gonna kick myself. SHIRO is it's a not combination of mix up between the two. Yeah, I mean, if I was to go through all these and like pick up like the where's Chance? Goodbye Future Funk by Chance De La Soul.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good album. I love the artwork for that album too. It's real fun. It's such a striking album.
I think it's overall. Like he takes this sort of the future funk tropes, but yet does the avalanches like take on it.
Oh,
it's
nice.
So,
I like that a lot.
He was in a live stream not too long ago, and people were saying really good things
like that
about
album
it.
a lot.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
He's one of those artists that he sent in his demo I check demos like usually once or twice a week.
Good man.
And he was one of those demos that like sent one 10 minutes before. I listened to like the first 3 tracks and I was already emailing like, yes, get
right.
it. Because sometimes you'll get people like sometimes if I wait too long, I wait like a week to respond to somebody. I wait like 2-3 weeks to respond to somebody because I mull it over. You listen to it like your demo for a while, and I think it's like sometimes you're unsure, so you're like, yeah, maybe I'll listen to it a couple more times. I'll think about it before I email them out. Here's one of those artists that I just like heard. I was like, get this boy
We're releasing
over
that
here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a demo come in, the other day that was like that. I got it like at 4:30, and at 5:30 I was sending them an email. You know.
Very nice.
So, yeah, that doesn't happen all the time, but I wish it happened more often. But
Yeah.
I really like the Pursuing Paradise albums that you released. That guy gives me big DJ vibes. Chris, have you heard the Pursuing Paradise albums?
No, but I'm
It's like, I feel like it's almost like listening to a DJ set. He samples a lot of modern material, and it's all like just effects that you can find on a DJ mixer.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna listen to this.
Yeah, Pursuing Paradise, man.
I listen to a lot of stuff. I gotta have to make sure. Maybe this one's under my radar. I'll check it out for sure. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, we did I think we did a BizCaz Classics back in the day when I was still hand making tapes for that one. So, you know,
Can I ask you? Can you describe what the worst sounding demo you got was like? What's the worst sounding one? You don't have to say who it is. Just what's like one that you hear, you're like, oh no, like.
Well, here's the thing. If I usually listen to the first track, if they send me like a playlist, I'll usually listen to the first track in full, and like if it's like an intro track, I'll listen to the second track.
Right.
If I'm not captured by like the first few tracks, I'll skim through the rest of the tracks to see if there's anything, or like if it doesn't like. Because the thing is, like, I like to give people, you know, as much of a, you know, a chance as I possibly can. But sometimes you just get demos that are just, you know, I think the most egregious one I got, that wasn't like, you know, some rock band trying to send something, you know, that...
You get a lot of rock bands sending you things?
Well, I mean, sometimes, you know, you get people who are, you know, they see... label and they see, oh, they're putting out stuff each week, they must have room for someone like me, you know.
Right.
And we'll get things. You get demos from like rappers, you get demos from like rock bands or whatever, you know. I just
maybe they just see that you're a popular record label and they send you these things.
Yeah. But I think the most egregious one was just somebody who I think literally took a couple of already vaporwaved songs.
Ooh.
And like the vaporwave songs, like Chuck Person, Macintosh Plus tracks, and just, I mean, either slowed them down more and add like some like I couldn't tell if it was a joke. It was probably a joke that they sent in. I hope. I really pray.
Hope so.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think it's like I get a lot of good demos. I get a lot of demos that...
I imagine you get more good demos that you don't have a room for, or don't exactly fit the label, or you can't release, and you get that.
Exactly.
I bet that's kind of how it is.
Well, things like I do get a lot of like actually genuinely... The thing is, like, it's hard sometimes because I have to... There's artists who I'd like to work with, and there's artists I know wouldn't sell well, and so it would just basically waste a week. You know, where because the thing is, like, if I'm...
thing, man. It's a real thing.
But the thing is, like, you know, there'll be artists that, you know, I want to give a chance regardless, and I'll give them a digital release, you know, to see if, because if that takes off, then I can get tapes. Because the thing is, like, tapes aren't that expensive, but at the same time, if you're sitting on them, like, I've had like a handful of releases that, you know, I really liked personally. I was like, you know, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna put it out regardless because it's a genuinely good album. And then they just flop, and no one buys it. Then I have the tapes for like, I think the worst selling tape I had for 2.5 years, and I only ordered 50 copies, which is the lowest I usually go for. So that was, like, and I already subsidized, like, ship them out as, like, whatever, like, I do Black Friday sale, where you get, like, the 2 for 10, like, mystery tapes. You know, I usually put in, like, a scratch a dent copy, and maybe, you know, if I have a underperforming release for that year, I might put one of those in there just to, you know, clear our inventory. Otherwise, you know, they just sat there. And it was sad because it's a good album, but just didn't hit
click.
You know.
Didn't click. Hey, what do you think?
That's a shame.
Who do you think? Like, what do you think the reason is that the albums don't work? Do you think it has to do with like the artist doesn't push it enough? They don't have a strong enough presence. Maybe it's just not right for the time. Like, what do you think is the thing?
There's a number of things. I think one is artwork.
Yeah, we just talked about it on the last stream. You think that
Quip was
matters?
saying that on the last one. He said it was the most important
Artwork
thing.
is the most important thing.
Pretty
As a
wild,
label
huh?
owner, like, the thing is, like, the first 2 Chance Hill Soul albums, I mean, the albums are great. I love the albums.
Yeah.
But they took a while to sell out because the album artwork wasn't really, flashy. It wasn't really interesting or saying really anything, unfortunately. So the tapes sat for a while, even though the album was doing numbers on, Rate Your Music. The one album, shot up the charts. And that's the thing. Like, when he said in his the third album, Goodbye Future Funk, he said it with the original artwork for it, and I lightly offered to make an edit of it to make it a little more appealing to make it look better along with all the other releases on Business Casual. So, like, a quality standard,
Gotcha.
So, I offered that, and I feel like if it had the original cover, it would not have done as well as it did with the updated cover. So, artwork is very important. It's and I'd have
Seems
to
to
agree
be the
with
consensus.
You get a Keith Rankin painting as your
Or Lunitas.
artwork. Exactly. You know it's gonna go well.
Okay. So, people out there who make art, come to the vaporwave scene. You are very important to us.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing. It depends on what the artwork is. If you get some, like, furry artist to draw you, a furry character, like, in a vaporwave scene, I mean, I don't know how well that's gonna do, but you got artists like Mayor, who's got the little bunny rabbit dude, and those things sell pretty quick.
I feel like every single little story you're telling, there's somebody in your mind that you're referring to, and I love that.
I think what an interesting thing to talk about right now is one of the things I found too in regards to art is it's not even just the artist sometimes. The artist is very important, but like a really good, like, understanding art direction is really important. Like, where to place things, how to make the whole release harmonious. Like, when I re-released, hold on one second. So when I re-released Skeleton Lipstick, my album Glows the Melts, like, I had originally just, trying to I was going to have, like, wave racers or myself, like, mock it up and, like, did it, it looked shitty. Like, it didn't have the textures of the black and white that were on it. It didn't, like, the writing was just, like, on the side. It was boring. The interior was just random photos. It was so, like, just because it's a cool skull on the front, like, it needs to all, like, the whole packaging has to be, has to be a piece of art, right? It has to look good. It has to not look like amateur hour. And so, like, eventually I was just like, man, I can't do this. And I hadn't spoken to Joe Cuttery in, like, years, because it'd been in, like I don't know, the Glows of Melts came out in, like, 2012, or like the beginning of 2012. And he was the art director for it. Like, he put together the release on Airlines, and all of Airlines releases were so beautifully, like, crafted and put together. And it's all Joe Cuttery who did the art direction. For them, like for surfing or for Joe's Glows of Melts or Bewilder Beast's work and, like, all that stuff. And it's brilliant. Everyone loved the way those things were put together. So I actually went back and reached out to Joe Cuttery again and got back in contact with him. And now he's, like, in advertising and, like, I was like, I need you to please work on this. And now, like, Needle Juice is going to release it on vinyl. Like, I need you to put together, like, a vinyl release for it as well, designed like this. And he's just like, yeah, man, absolutely. And, like, he charged me a pretty penny. And I'm like, wow, this is expensive. And then I'm like, but then I look at, like, oh, it's so important. It's even more important than the art. Joe's not even, like, an artist. He's an art director. Like, he sources things, puts them together, creates the textures for everything, where the words go. He adds things to it. Like, I'm looking at it right now, like get it, like, like, copyright 2021, play at this RPM.
Oh, damn. What's he about to get? What's he about to get? I already know what it is. Hey, why don't you put your copy up to the screen? so we have a visual aid for anyone who hasn't seen Glows the
for
Melts.
me?
Yeah, you.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
there might
this
be a few people who don't know what you're talking about.
Let me tell you right now. This shit's fucking nuts. Needle Juice Records are madmen. They put together the most sturdy, high-quality vinyl releases and vinyl packaging that I've ever seen. It's better than most of my professional records. Hold on a second.
So like,
Wait, that's your new album.
well, it's the re-release of Glows the Melt.
Chris, I love your shirt, whatever that is. That looks super cool.
It's RG3X's.
Oh my
It's
God!
RG3X's
You gotta
company.
stand up so we can see that.
I will. I got one thing at a time. John, why doesn't John show his record first?
Yeah.
I gotta open it up.
Because that's got like a beautiful, like,
Yeah,
it's a
man.
beautiful design. I have that album on vinyl as well. It's a beautiful design.
Like my thing is, I designed this whole. The thing is, I would show the intro, but I don't have the thing with me. We got my last album, Alone Online.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can really. You have to look on this side. Alone Online.
There we go.
On
Yeah, beautifully designed.
vinyl. The cool thing was the insert with all the special thanks.
Oh man, that's some great
all the
font
names.
work.
And then we've got the April 17, 2002 text block, and then
Yeah.
you got the, all the fonts, all the colors, all the cool
That's so sick, dude.
logos and stuff. I mean, like I think it's
It makes every track seem super exciting.
Well, the thing is, artwork for me has always been like sometimes it'll come even before the album comes.
Right.
I remember Deep Dark Trench. I had seen that artwork from because I getting into that for a second. Deep Dark Trench, the 9/11 album, the Chris Chan album,
Yeah.
has the image of Sonic Chew and Rose Chew behind the American flag, and I saw that. This is around the time when Chris Chan, there was like a documentary and something on YouTube that was blowing up, and all my roommates were watching it on the TV in the living room. And, I knew of Chris Chan, but I didn't really know the backstory of it. And just hearing this truly a tragedy that is their life, and, feeling bad, feeling sorry, and feeling just like, man, this kid's been, knocked down, kicked with his teeth in, not literally, but
Right.
Yeah.
And, looking at the artwork, there's something so innocent and so pure about at least some of the earlier stuff. Some of the later stuff gets a little raunchy, but like some of the earlier stuff is what I'm talking about.
Right.
And, it has this childlike innocence to it. And, I saw that and I was like, I gotta make an album around this image.
That's
that,
wild.
I was working on a couple of tracks around that time, and I was like, how do I fit this into this narrative? And that's how I built that around the whole 9/11 concept, so yeah, that's artwork is for me very important. And I work with a lot of artists on Business Casual, and sometimes I've made a handful of albums I've made artwork for. Not a whole lot recently. 'Cause a
You
lot
did
of
the
artists,
one Lynn's Heaven album cover, yeah?
yes, back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, you're quite the
I
graphic
really
designer,
like that
man.
album a lot too.
Who
It's like the
else?
two
I
long
did-
tracks.
I did the Desired album, the one with the Sailor Moon hand.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, wow.
that was a screenshot, but
Mm.
I was still the one that originally the cover for that was supposed to be just some generic picture of Sailor Moon, like some windowsill or something, and I was like, yeah, we can't do what. This
No,
also this
you
also
sampled
before
that
New
cover
York
art.
City shit.
The image is more evocative in the way that you frame the hand like that. It's important. That's how art works. You know what I mean? It's not just
Exactly.
all about making the fucking picture. That's even what I was saying about the art direction earlier, about how you can have a great picture, and now how are you going to make it work on the actual packaging? Like, how are you going to make your packaging interesting? Like,
Exactly.
I was going to say, like, this is like the Glows the Melts thing right here. Like,
Yeah.
this shit is nuts. Like, this Obi strip.
Oh yeah.
is, it's not really even that. It's just like if you look at like the design on the back, the way.
Oh yeah, it's great. And the sizing, the sizing.
Absolutely.
Open up the gatefold.
Ooh.
And then the pictures. So again, the gatefold opens up, and then like it's.
What's crazy is like the little things on here, like playing it at what RPM, and then like artwork, the way the things are written across it, and then yeah, there's also like the insert right here with the lyrics on the back, like yeah, and it's thick cardboard too. Like Needle Juice is insane. This is thick fucking cardboard.
That looks like a story I want to hear.
This vinyl is fucking heavy. I don't know how they're pulling this off right now, but these like vinyls are crazy that they're releasing. Like this is thick fucking cardboard. It's it's not like bargain bin. Like it's crazy. Like I highly recommend guys, everyone don't sleep on Needle Juice Records because they're releasing that Desert Sand Feels Warm at Night LP soon with the sand inside it. Like
ooh,
this is a fucking crazy record label. Guys.
That's nifty.
Like they're really crazy people. I wouldn't sleep on them.
Didn't they just get an office?
Yeah, they just got an office. They're interesting. Keep an eye on these guys. Anyway, art direction, very important, right? Like I hate it when I get like you don't want to get an album and like shit's like spelled wrong or like the font is boring or it's printed poorly.
Or it's like empty and doesn't play at all.
It's amazing that we put together these things in the scene. This is so fucking DIY. Like it's crazy.
The first record I did the art like layouts and stuff for was for Ozcob's label Bedlam Tape.
Bedlam Tapes. Yeah, I love Bedlam Tapes actually. By the way, that's great. That was one of the.
It was
I
great.
think Bedlam Tapes is one of the best record labels that's like ever existed in vaporwave. Personally.
But Spring Rain by Daniel Sandler. I did.
It's a great album. Oh, it's a great album.
And I did all the labeling, and I spelled his name wrong on the spine.
Oh, damn!
No!
Oh man!
No, it's awful, and I feel so bad, so bad, because things like nobody else caught it. Nobody knows. Like,
no, it's fine.
Do not trust me to spell things right. Okay,
no,
please spell check me.
I once released this EP a long time ago on like this record label that was called like Pizza Box Records or I can't remember, Pizza Society, and like they definitely like for the first time the first print of the album they did that they released before they realized that they put the second run was like it was definitely said Skeleton on lipstick.
Skeleton on.
Yeah, or it was Skele-Eleton lipstick.
Skele-Eleton. Damn.
There's like two L's, so stupid. I was like, oh my god. Oh, whatever.
I'll never admit it, but there is a spelling error. I released an album back in 2016, and there is a spelling error on one of the track titles, and I didn't realize it. Neither did the label I put it out on, and now it's just part of the canon at this point. It's just what it is.
Really?
You've made peace with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still real word. That's why the spell check didn't pick up on it, So
it's still real word.
Quiz is saying you used the wrong discrete on the Lipstick Elite vinyl.
Oh, I did? Yeah, maybe.
That's what Quiz is saying.
Great.
Lots of people keep going back and they were going back and forth in the Utopia district about that.
That's fine. It was on purpose.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I always say. I got a question for you, John. Is there an artist in the scene that you consider to be an idol or mentor?
Oh. Idol or mentor? I don't know.
Because many people consider you to be an idol or mentor, so I wondered if it kind of went a little higher.
Like, I've looked up to artists like Dale Opedin, James Farrar,
oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
like everybody, But I mean, the thing is, like, I see a lot of people as peers, to be playing honest. I don't really.
Good
a lot
answer.
of the artists I work with, some of them I even look higher than I look myself. Even though I may have some popularity, I may be I may have been around for a while. There's definitely artists who have been around shorter times and deserve more than what I've even got so far. Maybe that's what's the word, like imposter syndrome, sus. But
I think everybody feels that way, though.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's got that sort of sense of like, oh, this other guy's better than me, whatever. But
I think everybody feels like they're like, oh man, I'm the one who's not that good. Like everybody feels that way. Like I'm the one who doesn't deserve the credit, or I'm the one who should be doing it.
But that's the thing. A lot of my work is more conceptual than it is sonically, proficient. I've got my own sound to it, but at the same time,
some people really like that.
Exactly. Some people really like it.
That's what some people are really looking for.
I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth and just say, no thanks. But at the same time, it doesn't always feel like I've earned it so much. Even though, I know I have though, but sometimes I just don't feel it because you just don't sometimes. But as far as people I look up to, I mean, again, I see a lot of people as my peers. 'Cause things I've been around for long enough that I feel like a lot of my peers, are at the same level I'm at, or higher or lower. I mean, we're not far apart. There's
I say this all the time.
Very humble.
There's no real hierarchy.
There's a very small difference between the smallest vaporwave artist and the biggest vaporwave artist.
Absolutely.
This is
George Clinton says that a lot.
It's true.
Well.
It's so true.
You're both 100%
I very clearly remember George not having a following. I very clearly remember him really struggling to sell out that first Mirror Kisses pressing, right? That took a while. I remember being crazy he was even doing it. He did it on his own. I didn't know this is a thing. You know what I mean? And also, that's just the years I've known him. It's not like he wasn't making music a long time before he even started doing Mirror Kisses, probably. Look at Death's Dynamic Shroud. James and Tech, they've been making music for fucking years. In fact, they were Ohio. Was they from? Is that right? They just
their old
doing
prog
bands
rock
since
shit.
they're 14 years old. Prog rock, going through so many different phases until they're 30, and Death's Dynamic Shroud works.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how some things work for people. There's a lot of people who were doing some just. I mean, look at you for example. I mean, what were you doing music-wise before 2012?
Before 2012, I was still trying to fucking play acoustic music. I was in an acoustic guitar phase. I was like, well, maybe if I put if I run it through tape decks and make it distorted, I can play interesting acoustic music. I can be like
Sufjan Stevens or somebody like that.
Yeah, a little bit like that, kind of. Yeah, actually.
I know you fuck with Sufjan.
Or what's their name? What's the name? No, it's
Sung Tongs.
No, I can't remember. Just keep talking. But yeah, I was doing that, and then before that, I tried to do electro music, and before that, I was in punk bands or hardcore bands or emo
That's
or
cool.
angular punk. Yeah, I was doing a bunch of shit, but it wasn't my voice yet, I guess.
I think it's funny. I started making just goofing around in FL Studios in 2010, 2009, and I feel I have a lot shorter of a thing to where I found where I sort of belong, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And even though I'm still finding the sound, finding the sort of thing, at the same time, I remember there was 2011. I think I put out 7 albums, 8 albums. I was pumping them out.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they were all shit. First of all, I mean, there's maybe a good one, maybe or two in there, but at the same time, it's I'm glad I got through that phase where you pump out a lot of music. And,
right.
You're
the prolific
you just start
phase.
Doing something. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex G. That's what I meant to say. Alex G. I was I'm trying to be like Alex G or something. Maybe. Well, yeah. But anyway, yeah. You just pump it out. But then I don't know. How do you feel about where you're at right now with where your voice is with music?
I wish I was a little more comfortable with producing my own music rather than specifically sampling, because I'm working on a new album. Right?
Yeah.
It's coming along. It's got quite a bit more to go, but I'm hoping by next year it should be out. I'm hoping to finish it up by Q1 next year, hopefully.
Sick.
Fingers crossed. But at this point, it's I'm trying to work in the original stuff, but it's hard to do that with the sample stuff because I'm so used to work with entirely samples. And it was easier, like, not using any samples at all for the last album, and just, you know, going full into it. But then it didn't perform as well as I hoped, and, you know, and I get it, you know, it's definitely an acquired taste, and it's definitely not my it's definitely a first album in that sort of
Well,
sound.
you know, here's the thing is, you know, people have favorite albums. Like, I have a lot of favorite, maybe it could be people who like it a lot, but they just don't listen to it every day. You know, like, remember back in the day, you, like, buy a CD, and it would be your favorite band and your favorite CD. This would be your favorite album, but maybe you don't listen to it every fucking day. Like, my favorite film is, like, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't watch it every day, but, like, Spotify creates this culture, Bandcamp, these streaming strats create this culture of is, if people aren't putting your song on constantly and experiencing you constantly, then, oh no, are you really doing well? It's bullshit. Like,
I think it's not even that. It's just that whenever I look at, like, Rate Your Music, which I know I probably shouldn't.
don't do that. That's the worst. Or never. I haven't looked at that website since 2012. I'll never look at it.
You talking about Rate Your Music? What are you guys talking about?
Never. That is not a good place to go. If you're an artist, it's not a good place to go.
John, do you go to Rate Your Music?
Other people, it's not a good place to go.
Because I went on there the other day, and I saw I'm on a list. I'm on a list.
Oh,
I'm on
shit.
multiple lists, but I'm on a singular list by...
Like, you're the only entry on the list?
No. There's other people on this list. It's entitled Problematic Artist.
Why are you a problematic artist? That's crazy.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sorry. I do not trust anybody who names their album Social Justice Whatever and No Lives Matter to be a decent person. And
That's it.
should also be noted, he sells NFTs.
Oh, should also be noted. Wow, this is recent.
All right, we're
Oh
going to
my
have to
God.
end this broadcast right now. He sells NFTs.
No, we have to end this broadcast.
The
Christ
fuck?
got canceled. We got to get him off.
No. Well, you know who else is on this list? We also got Eminem on this list. We got
You're in-
HKE, Ozcob,
Why are you on this list?
Sewer Slut.
Yeah, man. Sewer Slut. I was so disappointed to hear about that.
It seems like a lot of people have a bone to... Well, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I don't really like all these people to me that you've mentioned. I don't know. They don't like, I don't like, what harm did they really cause at the end of the day? You know, like, really? Not that much, honestly. If you don't like them, ignore them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the thing. I mean, like,
they're not. I wouldn't call them like problematic. You know, can maybe a few of those people you just mentioned be irritating sometimes? Yes, they can be, definitely they can be irritating. But I don't think that this
Hey,
is,
you
like,
should link
these
the list in the
motherfuckers
chat.
are on a goddamn Twitter thing. Like, I don't know. They're not doing that much that, like, could bother you that much. Just fucking block them if they're irritating. But, like, I don't think, like, there's actual problematic things out there. There's actual damage being done by real people who are saying horrible things and doing bad things and making people feel horrible. And they're the problem. And I don't want to diminish them by putting price on there.
I get this person's sentiment where they feel like, you know, back in 2016, a little bit different of a time, you know, I named an album No Lives Matter, you know.
I mean, you're allowed to put... Here's the thing. You're
Was it
allowed
a hard
to go
vapor
there.
album, though?
Because of the backlash that got, I named my next album Social Justice Whatever. You know, it's sort of a clapback.
Listen, irony is okay. Irony is okay.
But you're just poking
Darkness
fun.
is okay, too.
It's not in the current.
It is. Irony is okay. I mean, being
Christ,
mean-spirited is
edgelord
not, but
confirmed.
irony, and also, listen, man, the world is a sad fucking place full of death and horror and sorrow, and the concept of, like, human rights that we have right now, that's a construct, and it can be removed at any fucking moment. You think you're born with rights? That's a concept that happened after, like, the fucking Enlightenment and other random times throughout history, but there are multiple times where that's gone, and you're just fucking meat for the fodder, you know what I mean? Like, so let's not pretend, like, that we have to avoid the dark subjects and the irony and confront the sadness and depression that's inside ourselves, and the concepts that maybe nothing does matter once in a while, and we've got to fucking sit with that reality and not be babies about it, and we got to be mature, and we got to understand that, like, that it's okay to have the darkness and to explore that, to expunge and purge it from yourself, to expunge and release it through art. You know what I mean?
And a little gallows humor never
You know what I
hurt
mean?
anybody.
Listen, I'm not gonna stop reading. Like there's a lot of fucking darkness in like Wilton Burroughs, and that's my favorite art. That's my favorite author. I'm not. Listen, like I get a lot out of that. You know, you push out the evil. Lingua Ignota is my favorite, one of my favorite absolute artists. All of her songs are about suffering and violence and pain, and like they're very vivid, haunting descriptions of it, being sung by a woman in an operatic voice, who's a classically trained opera singer, mixing it with black noise
I remember you
music.
talking about her last week.
And like that shit expunges, that removes evil by acknowledging it. You know what I mean? And making you fucking deal with it.
Suffering and violence and pain and like
Okay. Anyway. Hello?
No.
Okay,
Howdy.
we good? All right. Someone else can talk for a moment now, I suppose. I'm getting too worked up.
I was just saying about rated music. Like I know you say I probably shouldn't go on there, but like I mean,
There's good stuff on there too. People write really beautiful things.
I mean, if you got thick skin, why not?
The mean things hurt too much for me to go there.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I view it as a place to gauge what am I doing right. What is it that people, you know, are looking at and hearing and thinking about that I'm doing right? Because the thing is, I'm not only making music for myself. You know, I've made very personal albums. And, you know, AOL was an experiment and a personal album and a, you know, something I wanted to do for myself. You know, clearly from the sound of it, it's not something that, you know, I would have put out if I didn't, you know, have at least, you know, some faith in it. Hopefully that it would do well, but also that, you know, it was a story that I wanted to tell because, I mean, I'm still young. I don't have that many stories to tell, you know. I have to, you know, sort of pull from something, and you know, I'm very online, so it felt like a very. And I think it's like it came out last year, which was a very topical, you know, everybody's online, you know, everybody's in their home alone.
I thought it was a really good album. I really liked it. I thought the themes were very apparent, and it was a very, very well done piece
I think the problem with it coming out last year was that it was a little too real. A little too.
It definitely cut pretty deep.
Yeah,
you know,
I could see that.
And you know,
but that's important.
Exactly. You know, and that's. I don't know. All I would say about rating music is it's a gauge for me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing, you know, wrong, and clearly with the last album, I got a lot more one star. It performed worse than Social Justice Whatever, which was intentionally made as to be like a bad album, you know.
Wow.
As like a joke, you know. So
that's
I mean,
modern performance art, man.
Yeah. That being said, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, so with the next album, do you think you're going to do something that's sort of do you think you would like combine the two concepts of like the orchestral work that you make with the last album, maybe combine it with some of the, you know, the discordance of the samples weaving in and out through it? Like, would you consider something maybe
that's a pretty cool idea, actually.
I've been trying some of that.
I think that would be really cool.
To be completely honest, at least with the concept I'm going with on this one so far, yeah. Because right now it's broken into like two segments. Mm-hmm. You know, a sort of, you know, a more like mellow, like classic, like sort of, you know, like a little bit like a bit of like new and old Christ mashed together, and then it's got the segment of just like, you know, Frasier Wave-esque tracks.
Yeah, I like that album a lot.
So it's at the moment it's I don't want to give too much away or anything because, you know, it's.
Do you have a title yet?
In the works.
Still in the works, yeah.
Someone in chat asked.
I have a working title.
Ooh.
I don't know, like right now I have it titled as AD.
How important do you think an album title is?
I think it's like, what I've learned is sometimes it's good to have an album title that's a bit, I mean, that's why I named the one album No Lies Matter, because I mean, it's a cool name, as well as it's good at, like, somebody looks at that, it's like, uh-oh, what are they talking about?
Right.
You know? So, I
like
mean,
the person saying, Uh-oh. I like the
Quiz
video.
says sometimes an album title will make you
You're like,
problematic.
this album's naughty. Uh-oh. What's gonna happen?
Also, it was like, even Needle Drop was like the title. Oh, this is a great title. And I'd be like, now I'm sure he'd be like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah, let's misspell that one.
Yeah, it's misspelled.
Yeah.
So you think an album title? So you think a striking album title is important? Do you think that's like what do you think makes a good album title?
Okay. There are a lot of vaporwave albums that are very generic. A lot of vaporwave titles that that are very generic. Yeah, I just said that.
You're not wrong.
And I feel like it really does come down to the artwork more than it comes down to the title. And the title is important because if it's just called like, I don't know,
Random Katakana.
I'm currently working with the artist to put out an album sometime this year. And the title of his album that he sent in is the same title as 3 other vaporwave albums that have come out in the past couple of years.
Oh no!
So I'm like, hey, can we rework the title? Can we change it up? Because one of them is already on Business Casual with the same.
Oh,
name.
man.
So I'm like,
Oh boy!
Wait, is it named
Maybe
Fuck
we
Business
should-
Casual 87?
it might be.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. Wait. What was your question?
Oh,
was
does the album title me? How important is a good album title?
I thought was she were asking.
I made a joke.
Who?
Mike Tanay has that album called Fuck Business Casual
I think
87.
that there's some albums that have like when I think of a really good album title,
you're good.
like one of the in the vaporwave blurred, I do think of like albums that have really good titles like Death's Dynamic Shroud, Try Living, like this, right? You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's a really good album
here-
title,
you
and
want an
Prom King
example?
is a really good album title too. And actually, let's hit five.
No.
True.
That Hit Vibes is an example of a bad title.
I thought it was
It's
a
good
great
album.
title.
I
It's
think
stuck
it's
in
a
my head the minute I
Oh,
said it. I
damn.
was like,
It's
I'm
Flames
primed
time.
for fun when I hear the. I mean, I get primed for
King.
fun when I hear that title.
King is a great title.
Wait,
Hit
what is?
Vibes.
You don't
Prom
think Hit
King's a
Vibes
great
is a good?
title.
You think Hit Vibes
I-
is too generic sounding? Maybe.
I think it's way too generic sounding.
Damn,
What does it
son.
say?
It
What is
says,
it?
what does it say? Well, Prom King is a better album title, and because it really matches the theme of the record. Hit Vibes, I guess maybe you might be right. I'm not sure now. I don't know. It gets me primed for fun when I hear the title of it. But maybe that's because I really like the album a lot.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Sometimes the thing is like it comes down to the artwork and it comes down to the music. The title is sprinkles on.
It's true.
But you want good sprinkles. You don't want the sprinkles to be flavorless. You want them to add a little crunch and flavor, like Deep Fantasy by Surfing is a great album title that matches the picture.
But the thing is like
Space
if
World 2000.
if the ice cream is good, you don't care if the sprinkles are that bad, or if
That's true. But don't you? But you want something to be perfect.
you
right?
want it to be, you want to have a good album, artwork and title, like. Okay, another example. Well, I mean, it's less. Okay, John Claw's Dark Web, great title. Wish
That's
the
a great
tracks
title.
had.
You don't have names.
Like names.
Yeah, like 001 Dark Web.
And I get it. He like his thing is he's not good at naming out tracks. I get it. But that's like an example of like it's just so hard to look up a track from that. It's like which one was it, like 5
Or
6?
all the Telepath albums.
Oh, you know what? I Telepath, nice guy, interesting guy, lot of music. He's one of those artists who like his my 2011 is like his from like 2015 to 2017, where he just kept putting out albums like 50 albums a month.
Very prolific.
But nothing wrong with that. It's just for me. I'm on Alone Online was album 7, and now he's on like album like 38.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
In the course of like, and like that's why I'm happy. Like I put out all those albums on another alias, on another sort of sound. Like sure, I had 2 Christ albums in 1 year in 2013, but since then it's been an album a year, if that.
Right. Would you listen to an album called Wacky Wonky Windows?
Wacky Wonky Windows.
Depends on the album cover, maybe.
You know what? If it was abbreviated as WWW, you know,
Or like Eyeliner
some
did
kind
it.
of like interesting like turn on it that made it sort of clever.
exactly, like, you know,
I see.
like you sell it as WWW, and like you have like on the artwork, like you have like this, you know, real, you know, I can imagine artwork for like that would be.
Well,
Like,
yeah, let's
maybe-
all talk about what we imagine it would be. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well,
I'm thinking like an
okay.
FM Skyline cover, like
I know,
early
I have an
90s
idea in my
rendered
head, too.
CGI.
Right, wait, okay.
No.
All right, so you say like an FM Skyline cover. So John, what do you say? Because I'm gonna say what I think after that.
What's the hell again?
This is fun. This is a fun
Wacky
game.
Wonky Windows.
Wacky Wonky Windows.
Okay.
What does the album cover look like?
I'm thinking of is, you know how the Black Banshee music videos for Black Banshee 101, right? Where you have,
Yeah.
like, the window coming in.
That's
like,
such
I'm
a
in the
sick
video-
album.
No, great series of music videos, and great album. But like having like a window similar to that, but with a bunch of like emojis or maybe old like chat icons making W's out of things like sort
Oh,
of
man.
three sort of thing, like behind like a white.
So like the
white
rare
background.
emoji collection video.
Almost like that, and then the bomb in like some sort of like sans serif font, you know, wacky, you know, WWW, and then under that, like in parentheses, wacky Windows, you know, and you sell it as WWW, but like it's the actual like W.W.W.W.
Right.
You know,
All
because the things like wacky, was it?
Wonky Windows.
I wondered what you said a minute ago. It was Wacky Woman of Windows.
Wacky Woman of Windows. Oh, I love that famous Czech New Wave film. All right, so is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so when I picture the cover for Wacky Wonky Windows, I picture Wacky Wonky Windows to be, you ever remember back in the day when you would buy those CD-ROMs and they would come with like 50 games on them, and they were all these short-term pixelated games, and you buy these things and you have like 50 freeware games. Well, I picture Wacky Wonky Windows to be one of the terrible freeware games on there, and maybe like the cover is like, you know, you're clicking and you've opened it up and you have like the screen for Wacky Wonky Windows, and it looks like one of those games, but maybe it's like slightly off, like the faces look a little too, the eyes are a little too far apart, the background looks a little bit like sinister.
Something's
You know what I
awry.
mean? Like, you know, it looks a little buggy, it looks a little sinister, like the faces of the characters don't look normal. They look like, you know, like twin, like, you know, like David Lynch-ish
Something
kind of,
just
right?
kind
But
of
in, like, a
unsettling,
digital
but you
world.
don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like it looks like one of those things, but it's a little off. And that's what I picture Wacky Wonky Windows. This fun game. And
It's
I
a
think we
game
need
that
to
got
play it more
buried in the
often on
desert.
show.
Is this like an actual thing somebody's working on, or is this like just a
Yeah, where did you come from with Wacky Woman of the Windows?
Wacky Women of the Windows.
Yeah, now that is
That's
a
like-
rejected porn
Photoshop
title.
Open, and
Well-
I'm trying to articulate my thought on how it should be. Like now,
Lux has
now need to
Wacky
make the
Wonky
album.
Windows in her apartment, and I said the other night that sounds like an FM Skyline or an Eyeliner album title.
Oh.
And so we're trying to get them to collaborate now.
Wacky Women of...
And the track titles would be Wacky Wonky Windows 1, Wacky Wonky Windows 2, Wacky Wonky Windows 3.
Got it.
It's going to be amazing.
That sounds...
I can cut you in on that
promising,
if you
my
want.
friend. Oh, I'm very tired.
It happened here.
I actually would love to just participate in something silly. It's not there yet. I've got too much backload of like things I have to get done, music and professional wise. How do you manage your time, John? Like going, like, do you have like you have said you check the band, you check your email like twice a week, and then like you have your routine where you go to the mail office, drop off everything. Like, do you have this like kind of down to a science now? Like, do you like you do this day, this that day?
well, the thing is, like, recently it's a lot. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of like places that are doing records, tapes, and stuff, their turnaround times have been shit.
That's what
There's been a lot of complaints lately, but
I've heard of that.
a lot of it can't be controlled.
Yeah, I've heard this.
And the problem is, like, I have a record ordered for was originally ordered for July, and now I'm gonna have to put out in September because I'm not gonna get it until maybe maybe the end of August.
Wow.
And because
Can't be
I
helped.
tried a new place because I was told the turnaround time's just better, and they're a little more expensive, but the turnaround times are better because it was like a 12 to 14 week wait or like an 8 to 10 week wait. And I was like, oh, let's go with these guys. I'll try these guys. I order it, and now it's like a 16-week wait, and
Jesus.
16 to 20 week wait. I'm sorry.
20-week wait?
Whoa.
And
That's almost half a year.
30 a year.
Jesus.
well, the thing is, like they said they'd probably get it to me in the 16-week turnaround, but if they can't, the thing is, like when I think it's like, you guys know how Bandcamp works, with like things just go on top of each other, and they only go away once you ship it. So when I put out something every week, I can't really ship other things out without having to go through, like, move everything down, because I do everything like basically order by order. Like I do batch orders for like U.S. orders, but it's been a lot more difficult this past couple months, because I'm also trying to get the albums in as soon as I can, but also I get a lot of, like, I'm getting a lot of albums that are like, hey, I'm working on an album. Oh, that's great. Oh, it'll be done by this point. Okay, that's great. I'll pencil you in. Oh, I need more time. Oh, I need more time. Oh, I need more time.
Oh, so people have been like, I'm going to be done by then, and then they're not done by then.
Well, that doesn't help, because normally when that happens, that's fine, because there's still enough time. Because I usually schedule them like ahead of time, so I order the tapes and everything's worried. Everything works. But now that there's a huge delay on physicals getting to me, it's not fun, and it sucks, and it takes a lot out of me. Like this past like couple months, I've just been like, it's felt more like a job and less fun than it has like even the past couple of years of doing this. Because I mean, like, sure, shipping isn't fun, but I mean, you still feel good about it afterwards. Now I have to wait weeks in order to ship stuff out. Like I used to be able to ship within like 2 weeks of an order, because I'm waiting on tapes, but now I have to sit out to a month, and I'm like, people don't want to be waiting a month for the fucking tapes,
Bro.
But things like, what can I do? I'm waiting.
Sounds like being a label owner isn't a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. It's hard work. Especially
With physicals, that is.
Physicals. I can't believe, I think it's a small miracle. It's a small miracle that I can go online on a Bandcamp and like order this vaporwave albums and I receive them. Like, that's crazy. Like, this is so DIY. This is such a cottage industry being run by people who just care really deeply about art. And like, it's crazy that I can like that this works. Like, I couldn't even believe it when I this started up, when people started doing tape labels, and like
I almost wish I was back to hand making tapes, because the thing is,
Really?
like, at least the thing is, what I used to do is since I was making like 10 to 20 tapes, 30 tapes max for release back in the day. What I would do is the Thursday night before the tapes go live, I'd hand make all the tapes.
Nice.
wow.
I'd come back from class, I'd go to the basement, I'd hook up my MP3 player to make the master tape, and then dub all the tapes and put all the stickers on, print all the labels out, package them all up, and get them ready to ship. And then Friday comes along, they all sell out. I put shipping labels on it, drop all the post office on Monday. It was great. But now it's put a tape out, order a tape, hope it comes in on time. If it doesn't, then I have to wait another week. And if that next week's tape isn't in on time, I have to wait another week. It's just been frustrating lately. And I'm hoping once, because things like it's duplication.ca, and they're in Canada. And Canada apparently is a lot more. They're not as open as the U.S. is as far as COVID restrictions. So that's been harming a lot of that, and making it hard on them, as well as I'm sure it's not easy to get all this material, or at least some of this material these days. Yeah, it's just been frustrating.
You want to tell them a story about what you told us before we went live when you made those tapes?
Oh yeah, the last big batch of tapes I made was Big Bizbox 1, and I made, I believe it's 600 tapes, cause it was 200 boxes with 3 tapes in each. So 600
Right,
tapes.
it's like a mix of them.
Exactly. That was it was Summer Love. No, not Summer. No, I think Summer Love by Dan Mason. July by Syllabus, and what was the third one?
Syllabus.
Summer Theme.
Miss Syllabus.
Oh God.
Yeah, Syllabus kind of
was the last
disappeared.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, he just.
Hope they're doing
I guess
okay.
Her, right? Miss Her. Yeah.
Wait a sec. What was the last one?
Sorry, actually.
Sick.
Her.
I didn't know that. I think it's like I know. Thoughts, conscious thoughts, sun, sea, and surfing.
Nice.
All the Syllabus tapes went out blank.
Oof.
And I didn't realize that until they were all sent out and done, with. And so it was at that point I was like, fuck this. I'm done hand making tapes. I'm hiring somebody else to do this. Yeah, I ain't doing this anymore. And I mean,
Right.
it's,
What a nightmare.
I couldn't
Yeah,
do
I
it,
had-
man.
I had
I don't know. I
refund.
don't know how you label guys do this. I couldn't. I can't do it. I can barely even send that goddamn Glows of the Melts tape to fucking Lux. Like I can't. I can't. I'm not good at these things, and I don't know how you guys do it.
I don't think I could do
God
it.
bless you.
You got to be very, very organized, I can only imagine, and have a lot of space.
It just has to become your job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is a John. Like,
Yeah.
It's a job.
It is a John job.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I got lucky that this started taking off when I was finished with college, because it's been great the past like couple years. I've been doing this pretty much full time. I do like freelance work on the side, but less of that these days, because I've been I've been doing the business casual thing. I've gotten back into art. I've been doing the NFT thing now. And now I'm also doing the FunnyNet thing with the boys, Disco and 3D. So, I mean, I don't know. It's...
Do you ever just, like, say to yourself, like, I'm done. I don't do this anymore.
There are days when I'm like, you know what? I think I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I'll just chill. Things like I feel like it's been this past like 2 or 3 months. Something clicked recently. Something,
Nice.
Just sort of like not clicked, but like something like, I just have this sort of like wave of sort of like what's going on with my life. I mean, I'm gonna turn 28 in September, and my 20s are a couple years from being over. Can I keep doing this for the next 20 years? And then the next 10 years, next 5 years? I think it's like, I don't know how much longer Vaporwave is going to be relevant enough to make this worth it. Because, I mean, I'm still able to sell tapes, still able to sell vinyl, for now. But I don't know how long it's going to last,
I guess it's always like that, the feeling, though. It's been that feeling since it started, right?
It's been that feeling.
I mean, they've been saying Vaporwave is dead for 7 years.
I
I
changed
feel
the
like-
name of the label in 2014 to sort of, what's the word? Like, diversify the portfolio.
Yeah.
Of
You
this
took the 87 off.
Yeah, well, I got the URL, which was sort of like a lucky find, like just the right
Yeah.
place, right time.
Wow.
But also,
That's really crazy that you got that URL for business casual.
I rebranded from being a Vaporwave label to be an internet music label, because I didn't want it to just be a Vaporwave label, because I thought Vaporwave was going to be dead. We saw,
Yeah.
Chill Wave and C-Pug and Witch House just die out in a matter of like a couple of years, less than that,
I think what's funny is that, like, you changed it. It's like what happened is, like, you reformatted to it being internet music, and then, like, I don't know, Vaporwave also reformatted to being internet music, like, just to absorb.
Yeah, Vaporwave has changed
which I
so
knew
much.
it would, and I knew it fucking would. Like, as soon
it's
as
great.
we started using the word Vaporwave, I knew right away. I'm like, that's a cool name, and that signifies a cool concept underneath it. You know what I mean? Of like the mystery of
I would listen to an album
existing but
called
not
Vaporwave.
existing, a promise that doesn't come, right? And I was like, that's cool, and that means something deep. It feels like something, and it means something. I'm like, it's gonna eat everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna eat it.
I like that phrase. It's gonna eat everything.
Well, recently, you know, maybe the thing is, like, my numbers aren't going down. They're pretty much, you know, staying or, you know, slowly climbing at this point. But
Good.
the thing what I see is, I see a lot of artists moving over to hyperpop. A lot of people who would be coming to vaporwave are now going on into the hyperpop space because it's inspired by a different generation of nostalgia.
It is.
You know, and
That's true.
You know, because the thing is, we're only getting older, and you know, there's only so long we can keep up with this shit. You know.
So you're right a little bit. You're definitely right. They are moving to hyperpop, but the thing about the hyperpop and the difference between the hyperpop and the vaporwave is that, you know, you've got a specific sound that you need to be hyperpop, and that's fine. But it's going to be eventually going the same way as you mentioned with Witch House or Chillwave. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to go in that direction as well because it doesn't signify enough. Whereas vaporwave, the phrase itself carries power. You know, the same way the phrase of punk or goth carries power. Like, it's an underground music. It will remain an underground music. The way that you get it to maintain is to do what we're doing right now, which is the record labels, the media outlets, the live
Evolving.
events. Well, you know, it's expanding, right? It's lateral moves, and then like involving fashion, involving artwork. You know what I mean? And then you know, absorbing other
Creating a
influences into
lifestyle.
it. Like, yeah, I mean, like, you can, like, I don't know, like, people, I mean, they're gonna also listen to hyperpop, but like their aesthetics, that's like, it's all kind of very vaporwave because vaporwave really takes on
Hyperpop is very
everything.
narrow.
It's
It
narrow.
doesn't have.
in the
It's
same
kind
way
of painted
a
into
lot-
a corner.
It will paint itself into a corner, if it's not already doing that. But you'll see.
The thing is, like,
I'm already
vaporwave
calling it.
proper has been in a corner, and the thing is, like, sure, we have these offshoots of vaporwave, but vaporwave as a genre has been in a corner since it first started. I mean, you know, sure. Again, you have these, like, I as much as I hate to say it, you know, something like, you know, a Birth of a New Day. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the album, but I mean, like, that
Damn.
sort of album conceptually changed the
Put the
whole
fire for that one,
timeline,
Isaac.
You know, the whole timeline.
That's
for
Christ's hot
vaporwave,
take.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, seriously, but the thing is, like, it really did change a lot of things. It brought in the concept of, you know, sort of, that sort of, like, the sort of ambient, nostalgia-drenched sort of sounding music
Right.
could be considered vaporwave.
Well,
And-
no, wait, hold on. I mean, like, we had things like Skeleton before that. We had a lot of, like, weird,
But it was
drenched
still,
sounding...
that was still sample-based. That's the thing.
Yeah. He brings up a
We're
valid
talking
point.
about original concepts, not original work, original, you know, compositions could be
Compositions.
considered vaporwave. That's what really, you know.
I
And
mean,
sure, there's other artists who had done it, but that was the first one that
Surfing
really.
and myself and
Again.
a lot of other artists were considered vapor, and Vapor Error as well. Were considered and you know, were considered vaporwave. And I mean, not everything is. I mean, there were original compositions with that. I mean,
What I'm
you know,
saying
right?
is, it's just like
But
how
it wasn't different sounds, like the ambient, the real ambient stuff.
Macintosh Plus was the first vaporwave album, but we
Metroid as
certified
well.
it as you know, the sort of album that, like, brought vaporwave out from, like, the shadows. You know, that's what Birth of a New Day did for vaporwave as far as, you know, bringing original composition into vaporwave as being the forefront instead of the samples. You know, and just having the sort of nostalgic tinge.
Yeah, it kind of took a left turn.
I always thought that the
2014.
interesting thing that album did a lot too was, with a lot of other Dream Catalog stuff, was bring the sort of cyberpunk aesthetic into it. The sort
Yeah,
of, like,
that too.
blue and dark, the sort of influence, like something that, like, the
rain
Blade Runner
and
type look,
nighttime.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you know, that's a positive album actually, like, in its energy. I think, you know, I mean it's direction,
Interesting.
Like, I don't
But
consider it to be a
what
dark
I'm
album.
saying is, like, I mean, without that album, without that sort of, you know, big zeitgeist sort of, you know, event there, I mean, I think vaporwave would have been dead, you know, a couple
Yeah.
years ago. You know,
Maybe.
Interesting.
and that's it. That's why when in like winter of like 2016, 2017, whatever, they were going through the hard vapor shit. I was thinking
just about to bring that up. That was gonna kill that shit dead.
I swear, I was literally, this is like, as soon as like business casual, they was starting to like really take off because they just brought the business, the full discography thing. And I was like, finally starting to, wow, I could actually survive off this if I keep this up and keep, doing this well. I could do that. And here they come around saying, oh, fuck Vaporwave. Vaporwave's dead for real this time. Those guys saying it at that point really felt like something. And thankfully nothing really came of it as far as, the end of the genre.
It was an interesting lesson to me, honestly. It was really an interesting lesson to me because, like, well, I'd already kind of, like gotten, like, I was on hiatus because of residency and stuff, but I was still always in the Vape Council, always keeping an eye on things.
Rest in peace, the Vape Council.
Maybe putting, like, a small EP out every once in a while, but not really promoting much. And I do remember thinking after that happened, and then it was fine, and then I was all of a sudden listening to, like, George Clanton's first album after he stopped being Mirror Kisses, and, I remember being, this is fun, and then... Death Dynamic Shroud started to become more popular, and I remember thinking, like, one person doesn't have power to do anything to ruin a movement at all. Like, one bad move can't ruin a good movement, can't ruin a good concept. This is bigger than anybody.
Nope.
This is bigger than everything. This is now, like, it's out there. It's in the zeitgeist. It's in the the protoplasm of the internet. You know what I mean? And it moves along with it, and pretty cool. And I remember thinking, like, wow, and here we are again, and now it's like, it's doing fine, and it's getting bigger, and see what happens.
All I'm saying is, I think we got to really sort of keep on our toes. We really gotta, keep up with it. We really gotta. The thing is, if we rest too long on our laurels, if we don't have another moment like, Birth of a New Day, and sort of like changes the concept of, what it is, then. It will fall the way of C-punk and hyperpop. If you say, I don't think hyperpop is going to be an overnight thing. I think it's got some legs because it's been. If you
I didn't say I didn't want to say it's an overnight thing. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want to say it's an overnight thing. I think that it will hit a wall probably though. Do you know what I mean? In the way that
it's probably not as resilient as Vaporwave is.
I think it'll hit a wall, and then they'll like,
and
it'll be scavenged.
PC music.
In other
It's been going since like 2012.
You're not wrong. Good point.
It isn't new stuff. I mean, the thing is, it's only now hitting the mainstream, and it's hitting the mainstream more so than Vaporwave ever did. The hardest Vaporwave ever got was the MTV 2016. Or was it 2016 or 2012 or somebody? It's like some music awards. They had like Vaporwave, C-punk inspired stuff.
Yeah, Azalea Banks had that lone track.
It was Rihanna's performance.
Yeah, and they dressed up in C-punk attire.
Yeah, it was Rihanna's performance. But here's the thing: we should be so lucky that that's only the amount that it is removed from the hands of the people who love it. So the reason Vaporwave continues is because it's such a cottage industry. Because it's so self-sufficient, it's got this very big, expansive scene of artists, creators, record labels, media outlets, dance parties, live events, the artists. So basically, there's this network of people propping up the scene, controlling it, networking with each other around the world, and that, as long as we should be so lucky that it is only siphoned away from us in that degree, right? It doesn't get taken and marketed huge, because you want it to remain in the hands of the people who love it. That's what's so cool about Electronicon, there's no fucking sponsors for that. And for the second one, there's only one sponsor.
Completely grassroots.
They gave George like $1,000, and then he just used it to make the stream better, basically, the live stream better. That's what it all went towards.
Right.
And that was literally just propped up on the support of the community, and honestly, they thought he was crazy when he went to Elsewhere Space and asked for the whole venue, and they're like, they know what the fuck he was talking about. They didn't know about they kind of knew about Vaporwave because they've had one or two events there, but they didn't think it was anything that big. It took a lot of him convincing them to give him the venue, and then when they gave him the venue, they wanted to kick us out at 11 o'clock, and we were almost not going to be doing the second half, basically the after parties, right, in the 2 rooms. We almost didn't do that because they didn't believe in it. They wanted to do another event afterwards, another a fucking techno event afterwards for the late night hours. And this is after George sold out the fucking thing in like a couple days, and they still didn't believe it was a thing.
Damn.
And then he had to do more convincing. He had to do more convincing. He had to do more convincing to get them to keep it open late and to get to both rooms to do the after party portion of it at. Like, so people, like, we should be so lucky
an
that
uphill
like
battle,
people
man.
still don't understand it, and we can control it, and we can make it, it can be this other alternate reality as it should be. I don't ever want it to get as big as hyperpop.
Well, then, if that's the case, then go back to the first hot take of the night, comparing us to mainstream artists, big names, stuff like that. We're never going to be that if we're over here being the judges of our own domain.
No.
And things like that's a positive thing, but it also means that numbers are never going to get big enough to really sustain a lot of people in this, unless you really like somebody like Beetlejuice, right? Yeah. The things they work with multiple artists. If you're just a single artist, unless you have like a really big album, a really big thing, a really like you have that you have that Birth of a New Day, you have that Macintosh Plus release where it's just like big. This is going to be a side gig for a lot of people. You know what?
I don't know how we completely ignore this, but the Sunrise kid was like, yeah, young Bay is making moves. There's upward momentum, and it's true, and he does, and he still identifies vaporwave, and he still talks about that a little bit. I'm just saying right now, like I like the man. I like him.
So that's one.
That's one, but not everybody can be that. Not everybody has to be that, but it's there.
True.
I wouldn't want to be that. Like, I like the idea. My dream, is just to cultivate like a subculture following, and I feel like that's longer lasting. You know what I mean? I like the idea of, like, when I think about like the people I think of like culture critics who are also musicians, like Steve Albini, things like that. And those were always my biggest heroes, like those kind of people. And they were like, that were just like had these interesting opinions about music and art, and cultivated like their own music, and then a collection of artists around them, and are part of movements, and like I think about those people more than I think about pop stars from than I think about pop stars.
I feel like I can't help be a little bit cynical, about all this, and maybe I'm more cynical than maybe you are, because I've been here since 2013. I didn't take a break. I didn't.
Yeah, you've watched it grow.
I've seen every part of it throughout the years, and I've seen the ups and I've seen the downs.
Yeah, the parts that didn't make it, that got pruned.
This isn't supposed to be a jab against you, Mr. Lipstick.
Dr. Lipstick.
I'm not sorry.
Oh man.
Because like seriously, I mean, there's a lot of people who, were in the scene, in the early days, and they left, like Vectroid. She just completely left. She was doing her own thing, and then when she's come back, granted she's not necessarily in the vaporwave scene anymore. I would say, she's adjacent to it. She's like, people know her for Macintosh Plus, but she's clearly done a lot more before and since.
For sure.
But that's the thing. I mean, a lot of these people sort of missed out on that sort of like dip, and that's where this cynicism comes from.
I can see that, for sure.
And the thing is, like, I'm surrounded by it day in, day out, and I can't help but feel like, when is this gonna explode? When is this gonna, end?
What do you think is coming next?
I don't fucking know, dude. Just keep changing. The rules keep fucking getting.
I know, right? Isn't that wild? I'm here for it.
You guys are looking for like some new sounds, some new ideas. Like the Skeleton Lipstick album is almost done.
Skeleton Lipstick.
You've probably
and the side project
directions I've been going in with some of these like singles and the side.
You're riding the wave, man.
You probably heard some of the crazy directions. This is all influenced by me going out and doing dance parties too. But there's still going to be also the hypnagothic sort of tracks as well. But like I'm looking at the DJing and looking at the DJing combined with like my love of like things like One O Tricks Point Never and sound designs that are supposed to be confusing and strange and signify more and question reality. Like there's places to go. Do
you want to speculate to where you think it's going to go next?
We cannot rest on our laurels, and we have to keep our ear to the ground, and we have to stay relevant, and that's 100% important. Like, that actually bugs me, is like I worry that people, a lot of people, when they discover cool, everybody thinks they're the first person to discover what cool is and what it means, and like then they get tied to it and they dig their heels in, and then like they miss all the other stuff that's going past them, and then one minute they're like, hey guys, it's like that scene in The Simpsons where like Homer's trying to play like Grand Funk Railroad for the kids in the car, and he's like, did they know music attained perfection in the year 1977? Like, you guys don't know Grand Funk Railroad? You know, like, you don't want to be like talking about Grand Funk Railroad. Maybe you do if you're like future funk, you want to sample something cool, but you know what I mean. Like, you don't want to be talking about like the cool thing you listened to in 2006 as like the end of cool. Like, that's when cool attained perfection, and now it's like 2021. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta always look for like the true, sincere artists in every genre throughout the decades, and you know, they're always there.
What would you call it? The Donna Summers of every genre?
Well, I call it the Patti Smith of every genre. That's who the tattoo is right over here.
I don't know why I thought Donna Summer.
There's a Patti Smith. Well, Donna Summer's great too. I mean, just like, you know, you got these like people who are searching for truth in art. You know what I mean? Regardless of the genre, there's like a version of them in all of them, right? So I feel like there's Patti Smiths throughout the decades in all the genres. You know, metaphorically speaking, of course.
John, before we get too far in, Tech Honors wanted me to ask you a specific question. He wants to know what your favorite YouTube video of all time is. If you die and you go to heaven, and there is a heaven, and there's a God, and there is a heaven computer where God goes on there and goes, this is his most definitive favorite video of all time, what is it going to be?
I have a video in a playlist, and it's I'm on the wrong. Yeah, fuck. A second.
All good. And you have to put it in the chat.
I will. It's short. It's to the point. You know, it's
fun.
It's here we go. Let's copy this. You know, it's Tupac alive, impossible, or is it?
Oh shit!
It is. I think like 15 seconds.
I wish I had a way to. I wish I knew how to put this on the stream right here, right now.
You know, it's short. It's, you know, to the point.
I will figure out how to play this. Let me see. We're gonna open that.
If you scroll to the comments, 3 years ago, this is my favorite video on YouTube.
You said that 3 years ago?
3 years ago in the comments.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Video, it's a 2013 classic. And you know what? I've recently found like a video that is rivaling this one as sort of like a new favorite. Since it came out like last year, I think. I gotta find it. It's also in this playlist.
While you find it, I'm gonna find a way to play that video.
I mean, it's not really. What's the word? It's not like earth-shattering. It's 15 seconds. You know?
I'm watching it right now.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Here, down there.
Yeah, I just watched it. That was pretty funny.
And here, you know what? Here's the other thing.
Looks like something Discoholic would just love. Woo!
Well, I mean, this okay. A backstory on the person who made the video. This is Radok. Like he's basically the birth. Like he's like the sort of like origin of a lot of memes you see on the internet today. A lot of like video memes, like just like the sort of like with the like blaring sounds, the, you know, fast movements, the cuts and the long pauses. It like he's like the originator of that type of quality content that you see like everywhere these days. And that's like it's from 2013. He was doing stuff back in like 2010, 2011.
It's the most vaporwave thing I've ever heard.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, like, I got into vaporwave through the YouTube poop scene. So the thing is, like, where a lot of people got into it through, you know, Macintosh.
Why does that not surprise me at all?
From my era, you know, and like 2013 era is when I got in. So a lot of the stuff like I was listening to, like, my introduction to vaporwave is 3 things: Sleep Dealer by One Tricks Point Never, Smash TV's Memorex video mix,
yeah,
and Torn Hawk, or not? No, Torn Hawk is the artist, but his Luke Wyatt's music video mulches, is what.
Oh my
sold
God,
me.
the video mulches.
I have not seen those. Are they
I love
good?
the video mulches. That guy would do awesome. Oh, I loved him.
Ooh, I gotta
There was
check
another
those
person
out.
named Bade E, and I can't remember what the original name was, but they would do these weird, like, cool videos like that as well. They did them for, like, games and for, Ford and Lopatin. They did, like, a Strawberry Skies video. But the video mulch stuff was amazing. That
That's
guy
the
did,
thing,
like, music videos for this one artist, Publicist, who was, like, the drummer for Mercury Rev. And, like, that album's still on YouTube, and, like, I still watch it all the time.
I
The video
think
mulch stuff was amazing.
That
That got me. It was a lot of those YouTube videos too that got my head turning for different types of ideas in like the presentation of media and what it could signify. And for sure, like I definitely was watching those video mulch stuff. Or I think, and I know that you like this as well as like VHS Head and things like that.
I love VHS Head so much.
The thing is like VHS Head was like sort of like my peak YouTube poop era, like the sort of like the stuff I was listening to where it was just really getting into the stuff that was like really more dense. Like basically a denser version of the stuff I was listening to, like the funny shit I was listening to. But I put in the chat the Me and Me video from 100% Silk, Time of Love. That music video, I saw that on fucking Network Awesome. It was like a website that had basically like curated playlists of YouTube videos.
Yeah, classic video mulch start
And
where it has
taste
like
making was
the
so
name,
important
so it
back
does like
then.
the little like the name of the song at the bottom, like MTV credits with the static and the pause. This is I know this video very well.
Like this song, but this music just it's my first introduction to this, and it sold me on the visuals for like the sort of like nostalgia, like drip, but also had this digital sort of like
God, well, what's the phrase for it when they do like the glitchy things and it bends into something else? Come on, somebody know it.
Data moshing.
Data moshing, that's right. Yeah, I 100% was watching all those video mulch videos as well. Big influence on me. Just big recontextualization of media and how it dissolves and how you can repurpose stuff. You can't film your own things, but you can repurpose these things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like you could do it in an artful way. And honestly, that shit still hasn't been matched. What is it like 11 years old now? It still hasn't
I
been
have a
fucking
fondness
matched
for that
by
early
anybody yet.
2010s
Like
type
people
stuff.
haven't even come close to the skill and creativity level of matching that. Nobody's even come close to it yet.
And like those were the things that sold me on the like visual, because things like I'm a very visual person, and especially during this time it was more so about the visuals than it was about some of the music. Because the thing is, I was making music very similar to vaporwave for a long time. I just didn't know it because it didn't exist yet, or I just wasn't in that part of the internet. I was slowing down stuff, putting two things together to mishmash, like chopping, screwing stuff up. I mean,
nice.
I was doing that sort of stuff beforehand. But
what did you call it?
I plunderphonics.
Yeah, like
nice.
Negative
like
Land,
avalanches
like
type
that.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like the books.
It was a little more what's the word? Amateurish compared to
John, did you listen to do you listen to Negative Land?
I have a couple of the records, yeah.
I figured, yeah.
I've got I think my favorite is probably Helter Stupid, right?
Helter Stupid is really fun. There's also the Pepsi one that I really like a lot, where it's like all themed around Pepsi commercials.
I have not heard this. I'm going to need to check this out.
I saw it on CD at like a local record shop for like $1, so I picked it up, but I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, Negative Land is great, but Helter Stupid is Religion is Stupid.
Religion is stupid.
I love that album. I love Negative Land.
The B side of that is so fun. It's so fun. But that's the thing. Like I my introduction to vaporwave was a little bit different from everybody else. A lot of people tell me they like. I think it's like I feel like I got in like at the right time. You know, I got in early. Like it was still early enough that like, you know, you had like the big names. You had like 100. Not so electronic. You had Fortune 500, which was sort of like the the mainstream sort of vaporwave at the time, and
it was sort of like the center of the hurricane, basically.
Exactly, and those releases on there is where I sort of based off some of my like early releases on like the sound wise, trying to capture that sort of like not necessarily
like warbled nostalgic type stuff.
Exactly, just my technique wasn't as profound or Earth Shattering and some of these other, artists who were doing stuff there. And I know I sent in a demo and they, they never got back to me. So I was like, oh, fuck these guys. I'm gonna make my own label. And clearly, in running my own label, I know now that you don't answer every
Fortune
demo.
500 slept on Christ.
No, and Lux, I see in chat, don't be sorry. This is a good thing. I would not be where I am today if I didn't send that demo and said, because things like, I was also like in like my freshman year of college, I immature asshole, spiteful, oh, I didn't hear back from them in like 2 days. Fuck up! I'm gonna make my own label.
I think we've all
It's
been
all
there.
about me. It's all about my experience in
It's
the
not
world,
that these
when
people are
you're a kid.
busy. It's that they
Not that
hate
they're
me.
busy. It's not that like they don't have time to respond to everybody, or maybe they even just missed it. Nah, it's all
Yeah.
about me. How
Yeah.
dare they cross me?
Exactly.
Like everyone's like that when they're 18. You're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I
Well,
think
not
it was
everybody.
Like 9
Windmill's
years.
pretty cool. He's awesome.
Well,
Windmill.
well, but that's the thing. I mean, I because the thing is, I already had two labels I started beforehand, and I wasn't new to running a label. I kind of knew how to do it.
Nice.
I wasn't great at doing it, but I just got lucky with how business casual ended up turning out. Because I was originally on another label, Breakbit Records or Raffle Tracks, some people called, or was what it was called earlier on. And they used to do compilation albums every year. And so my thought was, I'll get a compilation going, get hype around people, get like some new artists, and try put out something, a couple times a month, and eventually got to the point where I was doing it every Friday. And then I've been doing that for past 8 years.
It's hard to believe it's been 8 years, man. I know you and I were
does-
talking the other night. I figured out about you guys pretty early on, and I've loved every minute.
Yeah, it's been quite a trip.
BizCast 100 came out like years ago now.
Yeah, well, we just passed what, 300 or 400?
Shh. You got to put out BizCast 300, man.
Quiz is saying,
I would never.
can I ask my question for a third time? Asking for a friend. What's his question here? He's trying to ask
Quiz has asked a lot of good questions, and I am really sorry.
Okay, what's the question, Quiz? I don't want to.
Quiz said something earlier about the percent of vaporwave that is music and the percent that is visual. Let me see if I can find that question. Quiz always has the best questions. Shout out Quiz.
Yeah, we should do some questions because it is getting kind of. Believe it or not,
yeah, we're
guys,
getting-
it's like it's almost been 2
We
hours.
are almost-
We gotta get some questions in.
I
Let's get some questions from the audience.
Oh, here it is. I found it, guys. Is vaporwave primarily a musical genre, or is it more? What percentage of vaporwave is the music, and what percent is visual art, etc.?
Etc.
I'd say
Meaning
it's
like
40,
not just
60.
visual.
40,
it's a-
60. Music's 40. Everything else is 60.
Wow.
Wow.
I would say 60 music, 40 visual. But that's still
For
pretty
a lot-
close.
a
I
lot
mean,
of people, okay, you look at something like Sunday, like the fucking Simpson Wave shit, and see how that blew up. That's all
True.
visual.
absolutely.
Like, I mean, sure, the music helped because Black Banshee's fucking great, but
Home
that
resonance.
was all down to the visuals, I mean, there's a to go off on Simpson Wave. I think maybe it's because I was already knee deep in vaporwave at that point that I completely missed, because I didn't realize how big of an impact Simpson Wave had on getting people to the community.
You really did a
because
lot. You really did.
Crazy,
I
huh?
realized that. Like, because there's a handful of people who I've asked, like, what was their in, and they said Simpson Wave. I'm like, what? Like, cause like it's in like the Wikipedia page, and I'm like, when I saw it, I just saw it, and I just fucking thought it was fucking.
It was on
lame.
Vine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hot take right there.
Honestly,
Goddamn.
there's like a
How is
lot.
that a hot take? Simpson Wave is lame. It's basically taking, popular vaporwave songs and putting a VHS filter on the Simpsons episodes. And I mean, like, it was so lame. It was so
So
Stupid.
I think that the phrase Simpsons wave is kind of a stupid phrase.
True.
Some of the videos I kind of enjoyed when they like it looks like it's like Ned Flanders is just really depressed and like cuts back and forth between like seeing his wife die and like there's, like they cut random clips in to like make this a really like the recontextualization occasionally amuses me. Like the phrase Simpsons wave really irritates me. It's really stupid. The idea of calling Simpsons wave like a thing is really stupid, but sometimes there's an individual piece that's kind of funny for me to look at. But like that's crazy that people try to make that a genre, make that like a representation. But at the end of the day, that's kind of people's in usually some kind of stupid meme, right?
Exactly,
a stupid meme is just, right?
You know, I'm hating on it because like now looking back on it, you know, even back then I was like, I knew of it, but I didn't realize how big of an impact it was. But
a lot of people who go to
it's just silly.
it's kind of silly.
Stupid.
You know what though? Like I swear to God, there's definitely a lot of people at Terminally Chill Party that like their way into vaporwave was Simpsons wave. Like I know it, and some of them have told me, and like they're past that now, and maybe they were even like 14 or 15 when they like first watched the Simpsons wave stuff, right? But like, you know. It's a young audience at Terminally Chill oftentimes in like their early 20s, and I think a lot of them the vaporwave first thing was like a Simpsons wave video probably when they were like 14 or something. But they're not doing that anymore. But like you're right.
That's like the thing. I mean, like there's a lot of what was I talking about before this? I just went on a tangent about Simpson wave.
Oh no, I can't remember anything before Simpsons wave now.
We were talking about Quiz's question. What percent is visuals and what percent is music?
Okay,
his question was what percent is visual, what percent is music, and what percent is Simpsons characters?
Yeah. Well, but that's what goes. That's why I said 60-40, 60 the visuals. Because the thing is, like for me, I had to get sold on the visuals before I got sold on the music. The music I was kind of already into, but the whole visuals behind it is what like I need to be sold on. Like Smash TV's Memorex mixtape, like video mix, it is such a perfect, you know, it's what Simpsons wave wish it was. You know, the sort of capturing of nostalgia, because things like it's nostalgia I didn't even have nostalgia for, because a lot of it is like 80s and 90s commercials. But the thing is, like, I still had this sort of sense of just, you know, you know what,
exactly.
You know what? Here,
a sense of law. A sense
I
of
think
something
Lux
that's
is on
now
already.
lost. So it's like a sense of something that is now lost, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like this. It's faded. It's decayed in the same way memory is decayed. It is like it's that the best vaporwave that's like that implants memories inside you that you didn't even have.
Wow.
And like that's the best type of like vaporwave. The best type of like Echo Jam style nostalgia driven vaporwave is the kind that creates a nostalgia that didn't exist in your mind, and you have memories and like longing for a thing that's not there.
Right.
Like
a past that never existed.
I'm not like in love with nostalgia. I honestly am not. I see no, I don't really like look back at much. I see nostalgia as a tool to be used as a paintbrush in creating an overall idea of something. Like nostalgia is one palette, then one thing to use. But I never listen to vaporwave or listen to some music because it's going to remind me of like my old Micro Machines commercials or my old like cereal commercials I loved growing up. I don't care about that.
That's so
I don't care about that. I think it's, to me, like I care about I care about how it can be repurposed and what it can say. I care about
that
those commercials.
That makes a lot of sense though, considering the kind of music you make.
I care about those commercials because I care about those commercials because of the altered version of reality they present.
True.
I care about those commercials because like you see like someone grabbing a piece of bread from Acme and like smelling it and going with their face. Like my music video for 2040 AD is a collection of of commercials strung together, and I removed the name of the ad, so it's just the reactions of the actors in the music videos, but I don't have the product's name in anything, and it's just a string of those together. So 2040 AD that's the whole thing is like, and that's the whole music video for that. That's the whole like one of the themes going on in the song.
That's what Memorex is. I mean,
I love
Mesh does a lot of stuff like that.
It's what sold me on the concept of, you know, because the thing is like, for me, a lot of like the nostalgic sort of things are not necessarily. It's the sense that things were better at another point.
You know, I want to interrupt for 1 second with Lux Elite. I use nostalgia to escape. So Luxury Elite, with the nostalgia vibes that she's created, it's creating a whole world of intrigue. It's like, it's not even like I'm remembering a specific thing. I'm remembering a different version of the world. You know what I mean? So like Lux does it really well, right? That's like, it's a world. And also the other thing about Lux's music is like how personal it is, and like you can feel the energy of what she's feeling and what she was trying to communicate when she makes it. The best Echo Jams do that. They're infused with the personality and experience of the person creating it.
100%.
And like, you know, that consistent world that Lux creates with her music, it's like that's what you should be trying to do when you're doing this sort of stuff, maybe, you know, or your own version of it, that is to say. Anyway, I'm sorry, I just want to get to Lux because she mentioned something. Go ahead.
No, my thing is,
Well said.
I've been starting, you know, well, not starting, I've been doing the sort of like internet-based nostalgia, because to be plain honest, I'm not pop culture. There's a lot of it I just don't get. Like Star Wars, I never got that shit. I don't get how fucking people are like over Star Wars. Or things like that, and not even just Star Wars, but I mean like just a lot of like nerd culture, generic shit like that. I mean like sure, I'm into like Oblivion, but you're not gonna see me go out and buy like a fucking poster.
You don't have a pop vinyl collection?
What's funny though,
character I have is fucking Ninja, and I got him as a joke.
Someone, you know, so you don't have, but like, oh wait, where did everybody going?
What? Can you hear me?
So what? Oh yeah, I hear you guys. You know what's funny though is like it's not so much the nostalgia that I'm looking for when I look back in the past. I'm looking for like the cracks in reality, like the shit that was like considered to be a good idea at the time and is no longer a good idea. Like Everything Is Terrible does a really good job of curating things that seem like a good idea at the time,
Everything
but
Is
have aged
Terrible
poorly.
is great.
Like these, and I always like looking at like, you know, like when they do a bad special effect in something, or when they have like a bad way of acting, or they use a phrase that no one uses anymore, like whatever, booger brain, like, you know, like stuff like no one ever said that in the first place. You know what I mean? And like, but like that was like in all the kids movies, or like a dog that's like on a football team in some shitty like movie. Like the curiosities in nostalgia are what interests me, but I don't really care too much about like, I'm not trying to go back. Like I'm really not. And like I'm trying to use it as part of the paintbrush to show you the cracks in reality. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
But I mean, like going off that, I mean, I think it's like for me, like nostalgia is different for me. I feel like than a lot of my peers. You know, I don't have a collection of fucking pop figures of my favorite movies. You know, if I have anything on my wall, I have art on my wall. I don't have like fucking movie posters from a Legend of Zelda or Lord of the Rings or shit.
I don't have shit on my wall. I don't have shit on my wall. I have blank walls. I have nothing. I have synthesizers. I have a television. I have a couch and a bed and like my DJ decks and a green screen.
It's like,
and like
that's all you need, baby.
I don't care. And I have a closet full of vaporwave stuff. You know what I mean? A closet full of vaporwave merch.
Yeah, baby.
I need something to look at to enrich my life, because I get no sunlight. I live in a fucking basement. You know?
My mind is just too fucked up all the time. Like if I can't, like I'm just.
But that's the thing. I mean, for me, when it comes to, you know, the recontextualizing of things, like sure I have my things I'm nostalgic for, but I'm not the type of person who's gonna be like, you know, oh wow! Oh! over like some
I really want that. I want that.
Someone clip that.
You know, but
that's going in the next ad.
I feel like there's a lot of people in the scene that are looking for that type of nostalgia.
Well, you know, and at the end of the day, I guess that's fine. That's their way of interpreting, and that's great. And if that gives them pleasure and happiness, you know, right? Like I don't do it either. It's not my thing either.
People like disappearing into another world. That's why people play video games.
For instance, build Lego. Isaac really, like Isaac, you have your Legos. You really love them. They give you joy. You feel happy with them, right?
Yeah. When I can put them out.
Maybe my thing is I don't necessarily like escaping too often.
That's actually good, dude.
I think you might be a little bit like me. Christ. So John, you might be a little bit like me, where you know, I'm very much a very fire and brimstone sort of person as well in viewing like the world sometimes, and like I choose to like think like that as well. Like I don't like escapism too much either, because I'm just like I'm constantly thinking about the gravity of reality and like what it means.
It's less because of that. The thing is, like, I've had hard times in my life.
Okay.
And to be completely honest, I'm not in those hard times anymore. I'm good. I'm fine. I have no reason to escape. I'm living a solid life. I could be eating better. I could be exercising more. I could be getting out, going on dates more. But you know what? Right now, I'm fine. I'm good. I have no reason to escape this. Because, I mean, like, I have no reason to escape. So looking into these sort of, like, topics, it's why a lot of the topics I make albums about are darker than how I feel. Because it's the only sort of, like, way to get any of those sort of feelings out in a way that feels real. It's my way of escaping by telling stories of, you know, sort of sadness and sort of like destruction and sort of, you know, the sort of like hurt of the world or of a person or of or something, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I just like, there's a lot of people out there who are just, you know, I'm more so talking about art now. Like I'm less so talking about music.
Do you not like the fact that people collect these little pop-up things, because you're like, why you collect that when you could be collecting, I don't know, art or something else? Or
the thing is, like, there are artists out there who are making art for art's sake, and then there's companies who are selling pop figures of your favorite movie that's multi-million-dollar movie. You know, I you know, there's a couple artists in the vaporwave scene, you know, I'm that, like, you know, they have their, you know, Nintendo characters, they have their, you know, Arizona iced tea and their art and stuff like that. And, you know, at one point I would have been like about that Fraser wave, that era of it, you know. Part of it was trying to, you know, sort of take what was working in vaporwave and add a visual behind it, but it had to do with, like, me. Like, I liked Fraser. Fraser's great. It's a great show. But, like, there was only one of those albums where I did that. Because, like, after it worked, I was like, okay, I don't have to use that as a crutch anymore. You know?
Interesting.
You know, I could go and try to tackle something a little bit. Like, granted, I don't think I really got anywhere until I got to, like, No Lives Matter. Like, I tried some stuff, you know, 7 years later, and New Wounds, but I don't really think it was really as, you know, poignant.
Disagree. Dehydrated is an A-tier track.
New Wounds is my third album. It's the one with the Jesus getting the finger, like, fingers on the side.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's right. I actually really liked what was the I really liked that EP, Sacrificial Lamb. That was a very good EP. I particularly liked Something Wrong on that. I was like, I thought that was great.
Yeah, and I again, you know, I feel like a lot of people use vaporwave as sort of like a I think there's a lot of people in the same, like, sort of realm as me who use it for, like, the nostalgia for, like, the sort of darker meaning, darker purpose. But I feel like a lot of it is superficial, like, it's creepy because it's like, you know, it's Diana Ross, but slow down. Oh, whoa.
It's unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. I struggle with, you know, a bit. You gotta have radical acceptance for it to work, right? And, like,
True.
I do struggle with this too, where I'm like, I don't know if this is. I don't think this is saying anything. But then maybe it is, and I just don't see it.
And things like there's nothing wrong with an album that isn't saying anything. There's something wrong with an album full of bangers. What is Hit 5's about? What's the story there?
I'm sure there is one. Honestly,
I'm
sure there is one actually.
To me, it just sounds like a bunch of bangers, you know. And things like there's nothing wrong with having an album that's just bangers, front to back, you know.
Sounds like, you know, it sounds like the voice of someone who has figured out what they're doing with this music. It sounds like someone, because there's a lot of interesting, like, there's, like, clips in it from oh my god, that Woody Allen movie, which is like a musical as well, and I can't remember the name of it, which is like a little bit about, like, kind of the movie's kind of about day-to-day life. And
what's it, Manhattan?
You know, no, it's not Manhattan. It's like from the 90s. I think it's Everybody Says I Love You.
Oh, okay.
You know? And, like, I don't know, it feels like a bit of like a manic spell, the album. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I got it. I figured it out, and then I've leaned into the mania. You know what I mean? It seems like that. And it seems like a very bright future when I listen to it. I've heard that it's dark too, but I heard that it's dark as well, but I don't know. It could be both. It's probably both, you know. But Prom King is a pretty clear. You can hear what's going on in that album. That's
but that's the thing. Not every album has to have like a
not
concept.
everything
like,
does.
And I think it's like people shouldn't try to force it if they don't have it like in them. Like, I mean, I keep saying this. I'm young enough that I don't have so many stories to tell that are interesting that I have to make up some stories sometimes to get a point across, or like tell a story, you know. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, you know. I just, at this point in my life, I've already told a handful of the stories I can tell, and now I'm just sort of going to the point where, you know, I'm sort of conceptualizing other stories of like could be events or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the hell we got to this. I don't know.
That's welcome to Hot Takes.
Yes, sir. Do you guys want to keep going into overtime, or do you want to?
You want to ask some
do our
questions?
shout-outs?
We'll go.
I'm good. I'm good for whatever.
I know you guys are both on Eastern
Let's
time.
go for a little bit longer. I have to work tomorrow. We'll go for a little bit longer. So do we have any questions? Why don't we do that?
Yep. If the chat wants to sound off with a few questions, there were actually a couple from Tech Honors Dino Hour that they had posed.
Wait, where were they on, like Twitter or?
They were on 100p's Twitch and YouTube. Oh, Blashy wants to know if you'll ever do another BizCast box set.
Oh, like a biz? Yeah. It's my hope to. The thing is, like, I'm running out of good like releases to include in them because I've started putting every release out on tape, or just about every release on tape. So, unless there's an album that's in desperate need of being a repress, you know, I don't have a planned at the moment, but I'm sure there'll be more of them in the future. It's an ongoing thing, you know, because I started doing them when I was making tapes for only a select few releases. So, you know, well, Spaceship Earth, you know, it already got re-released on that's the other thing, and maybe this is a hot take, but, you know, a lot of other labels are, you know, they're going through the business casual back catalog and pulling the, you know, best ones, and to the point where I can't really repress them now because they've already been repressed and people who wanted them already got them. So I'm sort of, you know, that's the other thing I've got going for me now. And things like I don't own the albums I release up business casual. The artists own, of course, you know. So it's not like I can't say, hey, you can't do that, because, I mean, plus I wouldn't do that regardless.
Good man.
But that's the thing, you know. I've only recently started to get into making vinyl because, you know, I got sort of I put out the first business casual vinyl in like 2016, 2017, and it flopped. You know, then again, this is early vaporwave vinyl days, so
nobody was doing like vaporwave vinyl.
Yeah, 2017 was a rough year.
And I didn't choose the right album to put out first. You know, I had faith in it, but clearly, you know, it wasn't the right one. So it flopped, and so it sort of put a bad taste in my mouth for doing records, because things are fucking expensive.
Yeah, they are. You gotta front a lot of money.
They suck to ship. You know what? If I never see a vinyl again, it's.
I don't buy them.
They suck. I love them. I collect them. I have a ton of them. But they suck.
I can't believe people are putting out vinyl. Like, it's so... I remember in the very early days of the scene being like, it's going to be nice to put out these tapes, and that makes sense for this music movement, but, like, I don't think we're ever going to get to, like, a point where vinyl
There's so many moving parts, dude.
I can't believe, like, then all of a sudden, like, I remember being, like, kind of coming back in the scene being like, oh, we're doing vinyl now, huh? Like, I'm mostly came, you know, like, I remember, like, My Pet Flamingo approached me, like, we want to put Lipstick Elite on vinyl, and I'm like, we're doing this a lot now? That's crazy.
Yeah,
like, it's selling?
That's the other thing. I mean, for a long time, I didn't think it was possible. Whenever I hear about pressing plants and how they want all this stuff in writing, you know, I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
I don't know about this, you know.
Yeah.
I
don't know about this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, when you're working in a genre that's very much, you know, in the gray zone, you know, there's always a shade of gray, you know. There's got to be some fear, you know. There's got to be some risk in doing that, and I feel like a lot of people have gotten a bit cocky. I've gotten a little bit cocky, you know, and I just hope this doesn't bite us in the ass.
Right.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, right?
You're pretty brave, man. You've sampled some pretty risky material.
Well, that's the other thing, and it's the reason why I don't put myself on business casual anymore. You know, personally, like, sure, I've put out stuff that's been like sample risky stuff before, you know, but like it's just I don't want to hold myself back. I don't want to, you know, I want to be able to sample what I want to sample, you know, because I mean,
right?
You know, yeah, exactly. Like there's albums out there that will sample pretty well-known songs, but they flip it in a way that it's like something completely different. And like I wouldn't want it any other way. Like I wouldn't want their album like Lola Disco's album Girl Talk, I think, is like a lot of like very well-known samples on it. They often sample very well-known things. Like there's like songs by like Madonna for like Lucky Star, but it's like redone in a way that's like so fun and it's its own vibe. I play it all the time when I do Terminally Chill. But like you can't take that sample away from that. That's a very well-known sample and it's on Spotify, you know, and like but it's so, you know, like I don't want people to not take songs that are popular and turn them into whatever the hell like Lola Disco did to that album, because that's fucking brilliant. That was great. That's such a vibe, you know.
But I mean, like, hell, that's the reason why with my last album I tried to go all original, because I was thinking, you know, hey, if I could pull this off, maybe there's a chance I can, you know, actually put my stuff on Spotify and not have to worry about getting a C and D, you know. Like, because I mean, you know, there's a lot more people just putting stuff on Spotify, and I'm like, part of me is like, you guys need to watch it, because, you know, if enough people do this, they're gonna catch on. They're gonna find us. They're gonna track down on Bandcamp or SoundCloud or whatever.
There's like a whole Spotify official playlist, obviously, now that has everybody's on. There's a lot of really obvious samples on it. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm lucky at this point that I'm not on it. But also, if you guys want to put me on the, I don't know.
I don't know who controls it.
Hey, que sera.
I don't know. I don't know how to get on it. Like I got one song on it, and it is one of my original songs that doesn't have any samples on it. So, but
I mean, I'm not clamoring to get on the vaporwave.
No, you should be on it, but like. It's just, the only way you're gonna get on it is if you're constantly releasing singles. You know what I mean? And releasing albums. Like that's like they're not gonna go back at this point to pull other people. Like you have to now put out new stuff. So it's like you get on it eventually, but it's like you got to keep being consistent and releasing stuff on Spotify and this and that.
The thing is, like I'm one of those people who like I'll put out an album once a year, if that. Because if people being honest, I prefer the quality over quantity when it comes to releases. Because like sometimes like it gets to the point where like you put out so much like nothing against the new DDS like mixtape club, but I haven't listened to all the new stuff they put out because there's too much of it. There's too much of it. I don't have the fucking time. You know, there's a lot of
man's not wrong.
You put out like 20, 15 tracks.
That's for the diehard fans.
So this is where I come back in favor of, and I know you guys will be against it, but I will come back in favor of the single. You know what I mean? When you have a song that's strong enough, put out a single,
and then like put out an album a year.
That's true, but you want to keep your audience engaged. Do a single or two. It
makes a lot of sense.
Strong enough. Make a song that's strong enough to stand on its own, and then make cover art for it. Ask an artist to do cover art for you. Promote it the same way you might promote an album. You know what I mean? Just every once in a while. It's not a bad idea to really, as particularly in the way culture is right now, right?
True. I've been thinking about it, but
like I haven't released I'm taking a while to do my next Skeleton Lipstick album. You know what I mean?
I maybe when I get closer to the sound being finished, I will consider putting out, because things like last time I put out singles, they did nothing. I mean, they didn't.
I really love New World. That's a great song.
Yeah, that's a one-off. I made that. You know, it was an interesting time. I made that. But you know, it just really, you know, it's like we're like there's a handful of songs on a lot online that I made that, like, you know, when you're making it, like, you feel like, oh, you really get into the vibe, get into it. That was one of those. That was New World was one of those songs. I just like, I was just like, I was knee deep in that.
Interesting.
Wait. Oh, there's already somebody in our world getting sued due to Spotify. Oh.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well,
straight up sued or cease and desist. Wow.
oh,
Oh,
let's hope it's a
Let's keep it optimistic,
and not
right?
a sue.
Yeah, I hope it's.
But that's sued. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Bad times.
Yeah. So
cool.
that's the thing. Keep your numbers low. Don't tell anybody about your music on Spotify. Like I tell everybody I'm on Bandcamp. Get me on
First rule of
Bandcamp.
vaporwave is you don't talk about vaporwave.
Right.
Exactly.
Kinda, yeah. Actually, like it's supposed to be in whispers.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I don't know.
I don't want to be
I don't
a
know
Debbie
how we-
Downer, but I think we are gonna have to finish it up soon, fellas.
Oh my
I've
god.
got
yes,
I got a
Oh,
sleepy
dirty.
roommate, and you guys. I mean, I'm glad you can go, man. I wish I had your fire.
Yeah, I would.
we like
keep
to,
going.
uh,
I would keep going. But
I really would
I
too,
know
man.
I have to start.
Y'all know I
showering
would
and
too.
I have to do work tomorrow. Like I would totally keep going. But well, we're always. I mean, that's the thing about this show is like, there's never a time where we're like, that's enough for today. It's more like, okay, we gotta stop.
Oh man,
Like,
I really
we
wish I could
gotta
stay
stop. Like,
longer.
yeah, it's like we want to keep talking.
We've got a consistent viewers, but we like to end every broadcast with a period of time where you can say whatever you want. You can shout out anybody you want. You can promote yourself. You have the floor.
I was gonna say, like I do at the end of all my streams, AOL vinyls are still available because of course they
Get
are.
them.
And I'm working on a new album. I've started selling NFTs. If you guys don't hate me for that, you know, I'm selling a lot of my previous work from like 2015, 16, 17.
Nice.
And I'm working on new artwork now.
Sick.
If you're into NFTs and have money to burn, you know, you can send them my way. Otherwise, you know, I'd be happy if you follow me on that Twitter. Because I had to make a whole new Twitter about it because I lost a huge chunk of followers just by mentioning NFTs.
Damn.
It was pretty
Yikes.
bad. If you want to follow me on Twitter for NFTs and art, just in general art
I was
stuff,
going to
can
ask
follow
you to
me at
link. Thank you for doing that.
JC Zobele on Twitter. I mean, it's not my work's not for everybody. It's very like 2010 Dump FM, net art centric. You know, it's just it's simple, but at the same time, I like it. It's whatever.
It's powerful. It's good. It's good
It's
stuff.
the time.
Support the arts.
It's good, man. It's good. It says something, and that's the thing about art. That's what makes it art. It says something. Okay. Anything else you want to promote?
I think that's it. Business casual Fridays, every Friday.
Woohoo!
You know, new
Love it.
music next week. From,
Anniversary Volume 8 is sick as fuck.
Equalix is next. This week and next week is Wizard of Loneliness, and the week after that we
Nice.
got Simple Syrup. So be sure to check those out every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on the dot.
Nice.
Love
And
it.
that's it. I'm good.
Right. You want me to go, or you?
Go ahead, Chris.
You, Isaac. Okay. As far as things that are out right now, I believe I've got a song on. I have a song on the Twin Peaks compilation. I'm not sure. There might be a few cassettes left of that. A little jazzy synthy number I did for that. I have obviously Vapor Never Sleeps. This is the new single that's out right now. Just finished up the Pop Culture remix and sent that to him. So I guess that'll be released whenever he releases the Pop Culture, remix compilation. I did a pretty dope remix of a Yukon. I suppose Winterquilt's remix album should be coming out at some point for O Discordia. I have a remix on that.
Nice.
Of course, Glows and Melts now available on Neil Juice Records.
My copy did come in the other day. It's in delivery.
Oh, yay! It's pretty cool, man. I think you'll like the art design for it.
I can't remember which color. I think I might got just the pure red one. I didn't get the.
No. You want to get the red one. The melt one is really cool. They're both really cool. The melt one, I can't believe how cool that splatter came out. And then also we of course have next week or this weekend, right? Isaac, isn't that World Wide Wave?
World Wide Wave, baby.
So
both Hot
that's
Takes
great.
boys are participating.
I've got yeah, exactly. I've got a set on the Stray Waves portion of it. That's pretty cool. All my music, all a bunch of cool stuff. And then the week after that, I think is which we're also both on, right? Isaac, Homesick Fest.
Both Hot Takes boys participating.
Homesick Fest. Yep. And the theme for that video is it's like a visual album representation of Glows and Melts. So check that out. It's pretty cool. It's like you're clicking through channels on like basically like a cursed cable station, cable provider. So I think that's enough. I think that's about it right now.
I'm going to echo those last two things. Homesick Fest, the next week, not next weekend, the one after that. I think it's a 3-day festival, isn't it? 18, 19, and 20. I'm doing a Witch House set with visuals by Sleep Pattern,
Wow.
who's been in the chat for quite some time.
He went to bed.
He did. You'll love the Witch House set, man. I know you will. Got some old favorites, man. And then next weekend is Worldwide Wave. I got booked for the Vapor Space portion with an Outrun Synthwave DJ set with visuals courtesy of the love of my life, Luxury Elite. Got some really fun vintage 80s commercials to be used for the visuals for that set. You're gonna love it, man.
Young Shiro, the Steve Aoki of Vaporwave.
Oh man, I don't deserve it. Oh, King Quartz called me a heavyweight on Facebook, and I was like,
hell yeah.
I don't know who you think you're talking about, buddy, but anyways, so that's gonna be exciting and fun.
What's up, John?
Going off of King Quartz, I think he moved to Pittsburgh recently.
I think he did. Yeah, from D-Town.
How about that?
Should go hang out with George, man. He seems really cool.
Maybe I gotta hit him back up because I think he got in contact with me a while ago saying he moved, but he was like still moving in, was getting used to the place. I mean, maybe it's summertime. Maybe I gotta go hang out with George now.
That guy needs to do more vocal work. He has a very fucking deep voice, like a stupid deep voice.
Oh God.
Very skilled guy. I'm working on a set for the upcoming, not the next site Sounds and Conversations by Codex Boy Encyclopedia, but the one after that. Manny booked me for the one after that because I was involved in the very first one. So for the 1 year anniversary, I'm doing like, I don't know what you would call it, like deep house / down tempo. A lot of Anjuna Deep stuff. I've got some Holy Other in there.
Anjuna Deep. That's
some Groundless Lava.
Anjuna beats are always.
It's very clean, like sounding.
It's very clean music. Anjuna Beats. Yeah.
A lot of clean sounding vibes for that set, and I have not really finished that. I'm still working on it. I guess now would probably be a good time to mention there will not be a Hot Takes 2 weeks from now. We're skipping 2 weeks from now because I will be out of state. So sorry. We'll return in a month. Haven't figured out who that guest is going to be yet, but we'll talk.
Yep. Yeah, we got a bunch of people on deck. We gotta see what the queue is. And is that it?
That is it, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you, John, for coming on. Really appreciate it, buddy.
I appreciate the invite. We had a great chat, great talk.
Yeah.
That was a hot take.
Who should we raid? Who's around?
I don't think anyone's going right now.
I don't think anybody's going.
If anyone in chat wants to take a minute and tell us, like, really soon, because your boy's about to fall asleep.
Yo, you should raid Eucharin.
Okay, how do you spell that?
I just put in the
Eucharin?
That's Power PC and me right there, you know?
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm sure, I don't know what he's doing. He's playing Valorant right now, so I don't know.
Let's raid him, man.
All right, we're going to raid him in 3, 2, 1. This channel is intended for mature audiences. Oh, no. This could be good.
He's doing this.
Who knows?
He won't even know what hit him.
Yeah, I want to see what he's like. What the hell?
All right.
We go from 23 to 50.
Gonna go ahead and raid now. Good night, everybody.